being after 7 o'clock, we'll open the meeting. First item we'll do, might as well do reorg.
I would like to move to have Jack chairman, John vice chair.
And Jack, I would like to make a nomination.
Yeah,
So, and first, I just want to say, you know, since the 3+ years I've been here, you've been the chair. I want to thank you for your years of service. But I would like to nominate Sarah, because I think it's good to have different people do different roles. So I think it would be good to have somebody else, you know, do that. So I would nominate Sarah as chair.
okay. Did anybody second yours, Kate?
Nobody seconded anything.
I second Kate's.
Okay.
Well, can I second that? I guess,
You need a second, Phil?
Do you need a second?
Second.
Okay. All right, for Katie's, between me and John, all those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Opposed, abstained for Sarah?
No. Oh, aye for Sarah.
Aye.
All right, so that's it, and make a motion for the clerk. Do you still want to do it, or you're done with that?
If anyone else,
Anyone else
I
want
don't
to be
mind
clerk?
serving, but if someone else wants, I'm open to suggestion.
Okay,
Nominate Katie.
all right, there you go. I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay. Next item, minutes of July 21st. Any questions, comments? Long time.
There being no questions, I move to accept the minutes.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second from Phil. There's no other questions? I'm making motion to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Okay.
Abstain. I wasn't here.
Okay. Next item, Kate. We'll do the Boyden Estate bond. So that people can. Okay.
This came from.
All right, Boyden Estates, and we have it from Kyle Balduff, and Kyle did a bond reduction based upon the fact that we have people saying they're gonna sue us, whatever. So Kyle came up with a final amount. He's got $14,546 worth of work left, so that's what would hold in the bond. That's according to Kyle. Anybody have any questions or comments on that? You guys all got a copy of this before, right? We did. Find this legal, okay. All right, do I get that in the form of motion?
Second.
We have a second? Okay, we'll release the bond down to $14,546 for Boyden Estates. So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Okay, one question, I don't know if you got the folder, do you know when this extension runs out?
I don't.
Okay. All right, so, we're all set. Thanks, guys. All right. Boyden reorg, New World, I understand. They're just gonna they gotta get the, there's a missing date or something, so he wants to do that next time, right? Okay, so.
Adam,
What?
Andrew Adams is here.
All right. Who's here? Someone here for the bond for Peach?
Yeah. How you doing? Okay, you got all the information from Phil?
May I speak, Jen?
What?
Can I answer him?
Can you just go to the,
I received a Form I to release the Form F covenant and a Form J, which is the conveyance of easements and utilities.
Okay.
However, on the bond that you brought into me today, the original, I had seen the copy, there is a date that's missing, and I don't know what the date is, and Phil doesn't know what the date is.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
So we can't,
We went back to the Bubbling Brook date and that.
right, he went back and he
Can't
checked
figure
the
that out
book,
either.
and he doesn't know what it is. So the last Phil said to me was about 5:30 tonight, and he said that it has to be figured out before we can accept the bond. I've never seen this happen. The bond is fine in itself, from the Chubbs Company, it's fine. It's that date, and Phil doesn't know what it refers to. I can't answer that.
Because David Zoppo doesn't even remember on the Bubbling Brook bond, it looks like the date was, it wasn't even in there when that bond was accepted either.
Right, so I don't know why it's in this one. Jack, you have a copy of the
So I
original
guess what I'm
bond?
saying is that if the
bond from what?
bond from Bubbling Brook, if we had the date when it was accepted, it wasn't in that bond, what's the difference this time?
Because it's blank on the bond itself. And there was a sticky note that said date written on it. Jack, there's a white folder that has the original bond in it.
White folder?
Yeah.
No.
It's like a mailing envelope that they brought into me this morning.
Kate, you don't know what that date is?
I don't know what it refers to.
Don't see no, oh, this?
Yes, in that. That's the original bond, and see where it says date?
Yeah, there's no date, you gotta have a date.
Right, but, and I don't know who put that sticky on there, and I don't know where it came from. I assume the bond company, but I honestly don't know.
They have to fill it in. That's who fills it in.
Yep,
Who needs to fill it?
The issuer.
Chubb has to put it in.
Or their agent.
Yep.
Did you see that?
No, I saw it. It's just, like I said, it's the same one from 2 years prior, and nobody even knows what that date was, and it looks like it was inserted after the fact. So what I'm saying is that bond from 2 years ago was accepted just like it was today, without that address in there. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Well, what happened in the past, two wrongs don't make necessarily right, but it's even written date, so we can't take this. It's not even like it's blank, it says date. So you'll have to get this, you want it back so you can get it taken care of?
Yeah, I guess so. So
Okay.
everything, we gotta wait a month, basically? Oh,
I'm not sure when they're meeting again. Keep going.
This is the original, you need the original back?
yeah.
Our next meeting's not in a month, though, it's quicker than
We got nothing going on.
that. Oh.
All right.
Well, we have a meeting on the first.
For the next time, I guess?
Yeah, just bring it back with the date and, yeah.
Tell them when we're meeting? I don't know.
What?
When are we meeting?
We'll have to figure that, we'll see.
Okay.
We could be as early as the first, but if nothing's on, it would be the 15th. So,
Coming? Should I have the folder back?
I need the folder back.
Thank you.
We have a couple minutes, so. Oh, it's almost ready to come up. It's clock tower. There it is.
Want to get Carl's donation? I'll always hope.
He takes his time, picks through, and gets the...
I do that too.
He's all set.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I have to start jamming these 1 minute apart.
Can do that.
Because it's 5 minutes, it's like,
I know.
Consider yourself lucky. It's Jim, right?
Joe.
Joe. You said Jim.
I said Joe.
Sorry. She said. They're both off, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they plan it around these meetings, so they don't have to show up. So you think they randomly took it off? Carl was in this week, wasn't he?
Yeah, especially when Garden Path does all the utility connections in the street. Get that?
And Chris is off too, right?
Yeah.
So they won't know what to
The end of August, everyone's always off.
Well, here they will, but just to work.
Yeah.
Clock now, and that's gonna be painful. Have to be real slow. Alright, looks about right. Yeah, I'll be in that at 7:15. We have a continued case 2202 Clock Tower.
Good evening, Dan American, Legacy Engineering. Just a quick update. I met with Carl recently to kind of iron out what we're going to propose in the way of changes and improvements to the street out in front of the site. So I'm just finalizing that plan work, so I'd like to request a continuance. When are your upcoming meetings? When are your upcoming meetings?
Right now, it's the 15th.
So if we could do that, I would
Okay.
appreciate it.
So I need something to the end.
Sure. Request and grant an extension on the time in which to act up to and including September 30th, 2022.
Make a motion to allow the applicant extension up through September 30th, 2022.
Second.
For a second, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, now, you're ready to rock on this one in September, right?
Yeah.
All the other issues and all taken care of, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, the time it's open is, okay,
7:15, okay?
7:15. Okay, we will continue the clock tower hearing till September, was it 15th? Correct? All right, at 7:15. All right, Dan? And that's done. All right, now, let's send these three high. Okay, on this next one, we had three, original, revision 2, and revision 3, is that correct?
Yes, we didn't have it open when they did revision 2, so those are ones that came in before the new revised plan went out.
Okay.
So I kind of separated them for you.
Yep.
the only one I had.
Revision 2, okay. Back in April, right?
You have those? I'm sorry, it came out in May, or it was right way back when. Okay. That's one of my questions. I'm sorry, that's one of my questions. But it only, the new plan only came in 2 weeks ago, so because of that, I'm not sure how many people would, like, with these, I don't know.
Yeah, they might
I
just
was
say
thinking,
I already commented.
right.
Okay, the hour being 7:20, we have a continued public hearing for 173 High Plain. And the last time we were here was, I believe, April. And since then, we've had 2 revisions. And the latest was 2 weeks ago, correct? Correct. All right, before we get on with that, I'll read what's been come in from the different people, from the town. Let's see, the one from revision 2 from the Board of Health on May 5th. They voted unanimously, they have no concerns, and they're pleased to see what was previously mentioned by the Board of Health was addressed. At the meeting of Plan Revision 2, again, that must have been 1, 2, June 21st, they voted unanimously, they approved that revision. And the final one that just come out, the plans that were here 2 weeks ago, indicates that unfortunately the Board of Health not meet until September 6th. They have attached the Health Department's comments for 170 High Street revised site plan based on the comments the Board of Health previously made. And I don't see the attachment. What I do got is August 15th, the Board of Health will not meet until September 6th. They would like to reiterate their comments of both June 21st, 2022 meeting. They did not have any concerns at that time, so what's that is set forth. Before we get to, I'm trying to go in order here. We'll do the police, August 4th. They've attached for any, the plans have been reviewed for any impact on public safety. The local police department suggested solar LED crosswalk lights be installed at Bird Middle School to pedestrian crosswalk in front of the school. We also suggest that left turn only be removed from the plans as the sight line to the left allows it and would cause problems for the neighbors to the right of the complex. Also, to have adequate space for delivery trucks inside the complex. There should be no parking or stopping on Route 27. All right.
Jack, I believe that was from the first revision, not the most recent one, because it's dated the 4th, which is,
Before that,
Right.
okay. All right, so that's August 4th. And, let's see. Next, Cowles. And we have Pat Duchesne has sent us the ZBA's decision of case number 22-1. Where they voted 5-0 in favor of the special permit for this project. And moving on, we have from the fire department, Paul Barry dated, let's search for Paul's, but we received it on May 5th, so this goes way back. And he reviewed the April 13th letters from Legacy, and his comments are, the turning radius documents are not stamped nor signed per 527 CMR 1, and subsequent submittals will need to comply with 527 CMR 1, 520 CRM 1, 182211. Approval access roads shall be subject to the AHJ and capable of supporting imposed loads by fire apparatus and be provided with all weather driving surface and maintained as provided. Access roads defined by the same paragraph shall consist of roadways, fire lanes, parking lot lanes, and a combination thereof. Number 4, the access road is greater than 150 feet. Dead end fire department access roads in length 150 feet shall be provided with the provisions for the fire apparatus to turn around. Number 5, we do not find the proposed turnaround combination loading space and dumpster area to be acceptable. The dumpster and loading area will need to be located, or acceptable alternative turnaround needs to be identified. Number 6, the access road will need to be marked per the 520 CMR as required by AHJ. Approved signs, roadway surface markings, and other notices shall be provided and maintained to identify fire department access or to prohibit obstruction of both. These need to be shown. 7, the location of telephone pole and height plane should be shown. 8, the applicant should confirm the distance between the proposed FDC and the nearest hydrant. 9, landscape choices will be needed to take into consideration future growth so as not to impede access. 10, is recommended the master key system be utilized for all door locks. And 11, it's documented that grills will not be permitted on the balconies. So that's from Paul, Barry, Deputy Fire Chief, and I have Carl's. You want me to read them?
I'll read them.
You want, did you go over this with Carl? So-
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you read it then. I just didn't want you reading something you didn't know about.
So Carl's comments dated August 12th, 2022, basically say that all previous comments have been addressed. If the board moves to approve, another sheet will be needed to be provided for the endorsement set and the standard conditions and special conditions. And basically, for the traffic, the conclusion and mitigation section from Kimley and Horn report, the recommendations have been incorporated to the plans. And the 4th recommendation is basically with the Bird Middle School. There's nothing to do with this project, it should be done under that project. And number 2, not discussed in the report, but under consideration by the applicant and the traffic engineer, is restriping of High Plain Street and adjusting the left turn taper further to the east to accommodate a site driveway. That's it for Carl.
Okay. All right, those are all the comments we have. We have a mix. The most updated one is the one from Carl, and the fire chief goes back, deputy fire chief goes back to May. So all that being said, Dan, I don't know if you've seen them or know about them, but go ahead.
Sure. On the deputy fire chief, he issued a subsequent memo indicating he was satisfied, and I believe that was submitted. I'm trying to track it down in my phone, and I can email it to you, but he did. That's the only reason why the zoning board, that was a factor in the zoning board approval of the project. So we went back and forth with deputy chief, and he ended up being satisfied with the revisions that we made, which I'll describe in a moment. So since we were last with you, the applicant has been working back and forth with not only the town engineer, but the zoning board of appeals with respect to the special permit to allow 2 floors of residential above. The project has been reduced in scope. It's gone from 10 units down to 8 units, one of which will be an affordable unit. So the footprint of the building is smaller, the amount of parking is less, the amount of impervious coverage is reduced. So we're down to 25 parking spaces. The general configuration is the same. The big changes that we made here were in this corner for the fire department. We opened this corner up. We have a designated loading space so that vehicles that are coming in for deliveries, Amazon, UPS, whatever, will have ample room in this corner to park and bring their deliveries into the building. There's also room here for a trash truck to turn around, an ambulance to turn around, a police car to turn around, and that was all worked out with the deputy fire chief. The other changes that we made were relative to landscaping. There's been a slight reconfiguration of the area back here, but there's been a significant improvement into our proposed landscaping. These are all green giant arborvitaes. They're 6 feet on center. Their installation height is 9 to 10 feet. That's something that was specifically requested by the abutter to the rear. So there's a whole row here that we have a group of deciduous trees in the middle, and we have in the outer areas where we don't have a lot of existing trees, we have a second row of these. So we're looking to improve the 26-foot buffer pretty significantly. We've done a number of projects like this, and these really grow in tall and thick and provide a very effective screen. So everything else was really technical stuff. Couple of things I think we could talk about is discuss with the town engineer that we would repave the walkway, the sidewalk in front of the property and a little bit beyond. There's a notation, so about the no left turn. We did submit to you a traffic study, even though it's not required for this project because it generates too few trips, but the zoning board asked for it. So we did do it, we provided to you, the traffic consultant is here if you have any questions. The takeaway is we're not generating a lot of traffic, we have ample sight distance, we're not gonna really have any impact of any substance on traffic flows in the area. The question came up about the no left turn. So what we worked out with the zoning board and the town engineer was that there's a note on the plan that calls for a no left turn during specific hours, basically peak morning hours, peak afternoon hours. There's a subsequent note that indicates that those hours can be changed with the consent of the police department and the town engineer. So if it becomes that they need more, they could do that. If they decide that they don't need it, they could also do that. That would be something that the town staff, can observe this in action after it gets constructed, can make a decision about. The second thing that was discussed is there's been an idea of doing some restriping of this, because out here, at the driveway is where you start to merge into a left turn only lane to go south on Washington. So there's been an idea of maybe doing some restriping of this merge area. It's something that would have to be approved by the roadway commissioners, obviously. It's something where the details haven't all been ironed out between our traffic consultant and the town engineer, and the town engineer's preference was that notes be included on the plans which they have and in the zoning decision which they have, which basically says that if the roadway commissioners approve a restriping of that area, that the applicant shall do it, and it's subject to the approval of the town engineer and the select board. And they would basically decide if that's something that they wanted us to do. So those are really the two kind of highlights. Everything else is pretty straightforward. So I'll answer any questions you have while I'm trying to find that document from.
Okay. John?
The only thing I noticed right off the top is on the layout plan, C3. I noticed you've got widths of some of the parking spaces, but no lengths.
They're all 18 and a half.
Is that-
So spaces are to be 9 by 18 and a half except as otherwise noted. So these spaces are 10
Is that listed somewhere that I missed?
right here under parking notes.
Okay. Snow. The indication seems to be that the area, as you come into the driveway to the left of the paved surface, that could be also used for snow storage?
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay. And the no parking area will be striped accordingly?
Correct.
And the balconies were only removed on the third floor, so there's still some balconies on the second floor, is that correct?
Yeah, the number of balconies is reduced. The balconies were removed on the third floor. So they'll be on the sides of the buildings, 3 balconies on the second floor only.
And the
And those
decision,
are situated towards the back of the building.
and that decision was because of the height involved with looking back to the
Correct.
neighboring?
The neighbors asked and the zoning board asked that the third floor balconies be removed.
So you have that exits. Is that entry? Just question, I don't think it matters. I noted on the floor plans, in the I guess the closet's got like a circle. Is that something new that's needed on floor plans? I'm just curious.
What was the question?
There's little rooms that say CL, which I'm assuming means closet, and there's like a dashed circle within them. Is that just supposed to show that big enough for some reason?
I believe so. I don't know. I
I
think so.
didn't know what it
Yeah,
was,
I'm
I
not
just
sure.
didn't know if you can, other than that, not an issue. Nothing else for me, Jack.
Okay. Kate?
Can we just revisit the left turn issue? So if I'm not mistaken, the police said they did not want the left turn, but the zoning board,
So the police didn't make that comment to the zoning board, as far as I know.
they only made it to us?
As far as I know, and he made the comment about the first school thing. I tried to reach out to the police department, I got no response. I don't see how that has any relation to this project.
Right.
No, I'm not worried about the crosswalk. It's they blatantly said they didn't want a left turn.
I know they did. So I guess I would put that back on, there's a condition in the zoning board decision, and you can oppose a similar condition, and there's notations on the plan that say that if the police department and the town engineer want to change the no left turn configuration,
can
they
do
have
it.
the power to do that.
And what hours were you proposing?
We proposed no left. Six to 9 a.m. and 3 to 6 p.m. Basic traffic time.
It's funny they commented to one board and not the other.
You know,
Well-
and the zoning board honestly was kind of back and
Notations
forth
usually
on the no
written.
left turn sign. So I think they ended up being satisfied that they would leave it to the discretion of the town staff so that they could evaluate it. You know, if the facility gets built, they can see what's going on and they can see if they need to impose that or if they don't need to, and they can, lift that requirement. There's pros and cons.
They suggest the left turn only be removed. There is no left turn only.
Yeah.
So they're not
Yeah.
even talking the same thing.
Okay, I'm good.
Can I talk about what?
It's worded funny.
No, he suggested, he didn't want to be over the top, but they don't want a left-hand turn.
Yeah, but he said, I think it's a mistake in the wording. Because it says, we would also suggest that the left turn only be removed. It wasn't a left turn only, it was no left turn.
Right.
Oh, right, it's no left turn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think that was just a mistake in the wording.
No, but no.
But
No,
that
because-
being said, I understand what he's saying, that, if we put a note in there that says the police can take care of it if they don't want it.
Okay. The way I read it is, there's gonna be a sign that says no left turn between these hours, correct?
That's what.
But when he saw it, he didn't see that.
No, what I'm saying is, if you put the sign up, it means you can take a left turn except for those hours. So basically, you said you can do a left turn.
Right.
He's saying, I don't want a left turn at all. With me on that? No?
No, I think he's saying he wants you to be able to take a left turn.
Yeah, that's,
Well, I
That's
think
the
he's
way I'm
saying there's enough
interpreting it.
sight distance
Yeah.
to do it,
Because
but that goes against
That's right,
what
because he
we-
follows up with his
Zoning
sentence backing up
requested.
why. He says,
Yeah, he doesn't want the left turn. He doesn't want you to be able to come out of there and take a left going towards Washington.
no,
Yeah.
he says, the left there is enough sight line to the left to allow it, meaning you could take a left and it's not a problem.
Which we agree, honestly.
So-
That's why there were pros and cons discussed about this, no left turn sign. So I think we ended up in the middle on it, and that's what the notes reflect that.
Moving on. Phil?
so I think we need to have that letter from the fire department.
Yeah, so I just emailed it to Kate, and I will show it to you, and it does say that it was submitted to the planning board, but.
I just checked with Pat too, he said both of us,
Yeah,
but I just.
that's
I
the
don't know.
letter, Mr. Chairman. It's in Kate's inbox.
And did it address all the concerns in the letter? like
Kate's
the-
not.
Yeah, I
up
can
there.
read it if you want.
Did you see the date?
No, I didn't notice the date.
June 10th.
Right. We submitted a revision back in June that basically
I
addressed.
understand, but we have another final revision you just did, Dan, so that takes care of what you did to the date. If it said August 10th, you're all set, but June 10th?
There haven't been many changes
Well,
since then.
I understand, but he's basing this on back in June, so. So what it says, the fire department met with you on May 31st and approved the access and egress. The dumpsters gate must be secured when the dumpster's not being used. Landscape choices need in consideration not to impede access, which he's already said, master key system, and the grills. But what you have here is based upon what was submitted back in May, right?
It was the June plan, which is not very different from the plan you have in front of you.
Now,
Plan you have in front of you just addressed some things from the town engineer and changed the landscape plan, minor changes.
we need the updated one.
Okay.
I'm not gonna debate whether what's changed or not, but we have a final plan that was submitted on August 4th that needs to be incorporated. It's not fair to Deputy Chief to say what was done in June is okay for the plan in the 4th, so. Phil?
Yeah, so I'm pleased with the changes you made, reducing the size of the project and reducing the amount of impervious land. That's good. I don't really have any other questions. I do want to just iterate what Carl said. He wanted to make submitting the restriping of High Plain be one of the special conditions. So I think that's a good thing, and again, that would be up to the select board to make that decision, but.
Sure.
And certainly, I support doing the crosswalk at the school, which is outside this project, but it's good to make that known that we support that. And the only question I had was on the handicap spot. This would be on C3.
Yep.
So it's not right at the door, is that?
You can't really put it right at the door because you end up with a depressed sidewalk at the mouth of the handicap spot.
Okay.
So I always offset it a space so that you can get into the sidewalk and go up to the sidewalk elevation, which is at first floor elevation. If you put it right in front of the door, you ramp goes right up to the door, which is not allowed.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to have a level area
Yeah.
at least 5 feet deep in front of the door.
My recollection was why we asked the same question last time. But, and then I know another question that was asked just to see, there was some question about whether the deck is counted for the area and the setback. And you said you were gonna research that, and although we should know that, but I just didn't know whether that had.
Well, it counts for the setback, and we meet the setbacks
It
there
did,
on the
okay,
plan
yeah,
from the
with-
deck. It
yeah.
doesn't count towards the floor area. There's a memo from the building commissioner on that.
Yeah, okay, and that's what you said you were gonna contact the building commissioner.
Yeah.
That's all I have, thank you.
Sarah?
Okay. So I was really happy that the applicant added one affordable and restricted, so I think that's great. Appreciate that. I have on my comments that we need to see comments from the fire department, so working on that. Just a question, was there a reason that you put stairs at the entrance at 27 and not a ramp?
Well, there's a grade differential to accommodate there, so I don't need to put a ramp there. It would basically eat up all that green space if I did that. Which
Yeah.
I think would be inferior.
Okay, so do you have a sign letting people know that there's a handicap entrance around the side? And if not, can you add that?
Sure.
And then I looked at the ZBA decision, it looks like there's up to 3 businesses, I believe.
Correct. And office uses only.
Okay, and so does that mean that the handicap accessible entrance will be able to access all the businesses inside?
Yeah, well, there's only one space required, so we put it in the most central location that we can.
Right, I'm just worried that there's a front business that's only accessible from that entrance, which is steps. which a handicapped person can't
So
access.
the layout of the interior, sorry, there is two handicaps. The layout of the interior office space has not been determined yet, so that's something that the building inspector would confirm meets code requirements at the time that it was proposed to be fit out. So if he had any concerns about, compliance with AAB regulations, that's when it would come up with respect to the location of those spaces and
Okay,
the office configuration.
okay. Okay, and then just a question, there's a pedestrian fence. Can you just explain what that is? Yeah, and do you have a detail showing that, or what is that?
It's just there's a retaining wall here.
Okay.
So we have a 6-foot vinyl fence going all the way along the side here, all the way along the back, all the way along the side. But in this area, we have a knockout where our drainage discharges, and so it's lower. So, given that there may be pedestrians kind of walking around in this general area, we're gonna put a pedestrian rail, which is basically just any kind of a fence that complies with the building code. Which the building code would require anyways, to go there. And they haven't determined what kind of fence exactly it would be. It has to be at least, I think, 40 inches tall, and, it has to, it can't allow anything more than 4 inches of diameter pass through it, but it could be any number of different kinds of fences that meets the building code.
Okay, so there would be like the pedestrian fence here, and then like the 6-foot tall fence behind it.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. And then, looking at some of our previous minutes, you were discussing whether you would replace the fence along, I guess, the east side.
That's being replaced.
You
All
are-
the
you
fencing around the property is being
It's
replaced.
gonna be new, okay. Okay, and then my last question is, I know there's a note saying that there's a white stop bar
Yes.
at the entrance exit, but is that shown on the plans, the bar?
It is, there's a line there. There's a rectangular line drawn right behind the property line.
Okay,
And there's a sign there, so there's a notation requiring the stop bar, stop sign, and then a left turn sign. There's details on the detail sheet for all the signage.
yeah, okay, all right, great, that's all, thank you.
All right, just the no left turn, it's already in there, so to me, that's not a big deal. We'll just leave it alone, they can change it. And you're gonna have to get the fire department, you might as well get Board of Health,
Okay.
because they'll be meeting on the 6th. All right, with that being said, any resident or member of the public, if you wanna speak, come on up here and identify yourself and ask the question or whatever you're concerned. Nobody? Okay.
I'll have to say at the zoning board meeting.
Okay, all right then, I guess that's it for now, Dan, so we have to get for the next time, and you need extension, correct, Kate?
Yep.
So the meeting would be the 15th?
Yes. So,
So how long after that would the meeting?
just the end, September 30th, just do it the end of the month. You can go on the 15th, but we always do it a couple weeks after.
Okay. So I request to grant an extension on the time in which to act up to and including September 30th, 2022.
Okay, I'll make a motion to allow the applicant extension up to September 30th, 2022. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion, all in favor? Aye. And what time? 7:16, right?
Yeah,
7:16.
Make it 7:14 so we can get this one out of the way.
yeah, 7:10.
It's up to you.
Gee, your other client wouldn't be happy, huh?
Uh,
The other guy won't be happy, though. All right, 7:14 on, we'll continue this to September 15th at 7:14 PM. Thank you.
Did we vote on the,
The extension?
yeah?
Yeah.
We got a second.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, the hour being after 7:30, we have new subdivision plan 24 Heidi.
Sure. Sorry, Jeff, hold on one second, please.
Mr. Chairman, Attorney Luke Barrow on behalf of the applicant, Alan Quaglieri. I'm pleased that we are finally properly noticed and published and are here before you. I
Okay.
thought I'd take a couple minutes just to review briefly.
All right, whoa, slow down.
Okay.
I get to open the hearing. I thought you were just gonna say you're here and how are you doing, okay? Because you're not open until it's not working until I open it. You got the,
Cards are in order. The green cards are all set.
yeah.
And you have to
Okay, how about the comments? Well, this is it?
Yeah.
All right. Notice hereby given the planning board, it's a re-advertised public hearing Thursday, August 18th at 7:30 PM. An application with waivers received from Rocco Realty 2 LLC, PO Box 657, Walpole, Mass, having submitted a definitive subdivision plan known as 24 Heidi Street and Heidi Street in Walpole. Said plan is road improvements, Plan 24, map 45, lot 100, dated 12/20/21 by Zenith Consultant. And the owner of the property is Carl Swanson. The property is located on the easterly side of Heidi Street, northwest side of Wendy. The property is a wooded lot sloping from east to west. It is recorded registry, book 4662, page 214. The zoning is rural, and a public hearing will be held in accordance with chapter 4181T. So with that being said, now we're open, and Kate has just informed me that all the cards are all here, so. Now,
Thank you. So I am pleased that we are properly noticed and published, and we're here before you on an application to modify a subdivision that was originally approved in 1970. I think you're aware of essentially what we're trying to do, and I'll just give a very brief background of the context, and then I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Bissonette. Jamie's gonna review the plan with you and hopefully answer any questions to your satisfaction. Swanee Estates was approved in 1970. A portion of Hardy Street was never fully built out in compliance with the rules and regs in place at the time. Notwithstanding that, there are houses that are on the corner of Hardy and intersecting street. And for many, many years, nobody's really taken care of the remainder of Hardy Street nor taken any steps to develop it. Al has an interest in purchasing one of the lots on Heidi Street for his own purpose. He intends to build a small ranch for himself and his wife and his family. And originally, we presented this request to you in the context of an A&R petition. But the board reviewed it and indicated that that was not the appropriate procedural vehicle. And ultimately shared a memo with us that suggested a subdivision modification is the correct procedural vehicle for us to use. So that's what we have before you tonight. Mr. Bissonette will review the proposed improvements to the street in question, talk about the lot in question and the intentions with regard to construction on it, address a number of issues related to ingress and egress, and then obviously address some of the comment letters that we received just yesterday. So with that said, Jamie Bissonette from Zenith.
Good evening, Jamie Bissonette for the record, from Zenith Consulting. As Lou had said, what we're looking to do here is try to access and create frontage for a single lot on a road that was approved back in 1969, 1970. As he also had said, this is part of what was a larger 90 lot or so subdivision. Basically, the existing lot that we're trying to access is number 24. This lot, we're not looking to change the shape, the size of it. We're looking to construct what would be a suitable frontage and access to the lot. We're trying to minimize overall disturbance. So what we've done is we've put the driveway on the left-hand side, as we're looking at here. And we're proposing a gravel 20-foot wide roadway with drainage on the side. The intended purpose for this is, again, only for one single-family house. Part of our drainage mitigation would be the swale check dams and deep infiltration, which we have located in front of the house. We've done perks with the Board of Health, and we've had the site delineated for wetlands. All of our proposed work is greater than 100 feet from the wetland resource areas. We do know that it requires a number of waivers to do the project as we've proposed. I believe that you've received a a letter with the waivers listed. And we wanted to take a minute and just kind of go over the waivers if you have any questions on them, or if you just want to go to the comment letters. We did receive those from Kate the other day. We'd be happy to try to address any questions with that. The roadway itself is pretty flat. We're looking to try to utilize the existing gravel base. There's existing drainage in the road, water, and there's electricity with poles that run down in wires. What we'd be looking to do is utilize the existing water main that's on site and also utilize the existing electric. I know the electric department has been down to the site with Al. They said that getting the electric to function for his house would not be an issue. I think that actually covers just about all of it for what's proposed. Again, this is just for a single house. Would you like to go over the waivers, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, why don't you do each waiver?
Okay. All right, so we're asking for a waiver from section 5C, requiring a cul-de-sac on a dead-end street.
4C.
I'm sorry?
Oh, 4C. Did you say 5C?
Sorry, 4C, yes. We're also requesting another waiver from 4D, which also requires a cul-de-sac on a temporary or unfinished dead-end street. We're requesting a waiver from section 5-6, A through C, regarding roadway construction. We're requesting a waiver from 5-7 regarding curbing. We're requesting a waiver from 5-8 regarding the sidewalks. 5-9 regarding grass plots. And 5-12 regarding street trees. The reason for the waivers is we're trying to keep this low impact and for one house. There's really no room to put in a cul-de-sac here. The right-of-way was created and it connects all the way through to the other side. If any of the board members have had a chance to get down there, there's been a ton of wetlands that have either come into existence out on the site or were there and just weren't necessarily recognized back in early 1970. So what we've done is we've provided a turnaround utilizing our driveway here for vehicles to be able to come in, back out, and turn around and exit. And that's part of the reason why we're asking for the waiver for the cul-de-sac, is just lack of ability to provide one. So.
Okay, all right, any more presentation? Does the waivers do it all for you?
That's all.
Okay. I'll read the comments we have from the Board of Health dated June 9th. They voted unanimously that they approved the plan, and they want to make sure that the septic plan submits to them. Next one is from Fire Department. And the Fire Department noted, we have the following comments. They don't want to grant 4C regarding the cul-de-sacs. They want to grant unfinished streets. They don't want 6, V6, A through C regarding the roadway construction. The project proposed to reconstruct the existing gravel roadway while adding a stormwater swale. And the board continues to grant the waivers. We recommend the road improvements, paving, continue down Heidi Street. The minimum of the first hydrant shown on lot 91. And they said any road improvements on this will have to comply with 527 CMR 1182221, which says they shall be subject to the AHJ and capable of supporting imposed loads of fire apparatus, and shall be provided with an all-weather driving surface. So, Deputy Fire Chief Paul Barry just says nope. Okay. Going on to the town engineer. You familiar with this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with this.
Yep.
For Carl's comments dated June 13th, 2022, Comment number 1 was for the application. A Form D designer certificate was not provided with the materials for review. The description for a waiver on the second page of the letter from the attorney notes that a 3-point turnaround is provided. The plans do not show this unless you consider the residential driveway a turnaround. The plan set provided for the site plan submission. The plan set provided is for a site plan submission or a building permit. It is not a definite modification plan. The title sheet should be revised to read definite subdivision modification plan, Swansea Estates, a single-family residential subdivision, roadway improvement plan, 24 Heidi Street, Walpole, Mass. All sheets to the left of the endorsement block add a certification for the town clerk and the planning board covenant as required in section 3-5C. The title block, revision block, company name should be across the bottom of the sheets. The sheet should be numbered. List of waivers on the cover sheet and note 9 of the cover sheet. Construction notes also include Walpole DPW's standard detail as last revised. Layout plan, do not agree with the request for waiver of paving. Show paving from the end of town installed chip seal through where it is currently shown. All vegetation within the right-of-way of the area of the road to be improved and down to the fire hydrant should be removed. This should be shown on the erosion control plan and possibly others. Grading and drainage plan show drainage within within existing easement lot 106 onto lot 98 and 91. If any of these structures were not complete, are in poor condition, and or do not have secure frames, grates, covers, they should be repaired and completed. Grading and drainage plan, provide note to check function of existing fire hydrant to check operation and repair/replace as necessary. Detail sheet, use DPW standard details for water service and water trench. Drainage trench detail modified so pipe envelope is 3/4 crushed stone. Modified roadway base to DPW/planning board standards with 9-inch of Mass DOT gravel with 4-inch of processed gravel on top. As noted previously, recommend paving with typical 2-inch binder, 1.5-inch top. The applicant will need to prepare and record a private way covenant and possibly a mutual maintenance agreement, which is also includes butters who also use the private way for access. Utility easement should be granted to the town over lot 98. The utility easement should be granted to the town over Heidi Street to access and maintain the water main and drainage. This plan should show the extent of existing utilities, all documents to be reviewed by the engineering department. This project will likely require at least a fast track land disturbance for the Conservation Commission. And that's it from Carl.
Okay. So now the couple we're missing, you said you're not involved in conservation at all?
We, so far, we're out of the 100-foot buffer with everything we're proposing.
Okay, typically, we get something from them to tell us, so if you get something from them, they're not in. Usually they'll say you did a nose at that, or it's not their business.
Okay.
So typically got that. The other one missing, it's sewer and water.
Okay.
All right, I mean, I know you got septic, but you got town water, so I'm surprised they didn't weigh in. Those are the two I do see missing right off the bat. Police, you should track down too. I mean, I know it's only one, but they're supposed to either say yay or nay, or just, when you send them out, it's all like a nice little checklist to make sure that everybody's had their say in it. I can't imagine this end of town, that'll be a big one, so that will be a follow-up too. And I think that's all for what I have now. I'll turn it over to the board to ask questions, and after that, I'll let anybody in the audience come up and speak and ask questions, but after the board speaks, and I'll start this time with Sarah.
Okay. So one, maybe just a question for the board. When we reviewed the A&R, did we say they need a subdivision modification or a new subdivision?
We didn't say anything.
Okay, I don't recall saying subdivision modification. That was new information. The applicant mentioned that. So this plan is a bit unconventional. And so the cover sheet should not say road improvement plan. I don't know if it's gonna be new subdivision or what Carl mentioned, a modification. Can we modify a subdivision
Yeah.
from 1970?
Yeah, subdivision, it looks like can be modified at any time.
Okay.
As long as it's not changing, land that was already sold or mortgaged, there's a whole lot of restrictions.
You can't change,
Chapter,
you can't change the lot lines either.
yeah,
Can't
so
change the lot
chapter,
lines.
chapter 41,
Okay.
section 81.
Okay.
Yes, that-
But there is
Okay,
one
so-
caveat
yeah.
to that, I don't mean to
Yeah.
interrupt you, Sarah.
Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead.
Anything over 8 years old, you have to comply to the current standards.
Okay,
So whatever, if it's the same standards in 1969 as now, they don't have an issue, but they must comply to whatever. We've had that in the past, with one off of High Oaks. Once you
Okay.
hit the 8-year mark, and, I'm sure something's changed. Think something's changed since 69?
I highly doubt it in that area, no.
No, I meant your standards for DPW.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if they had changed, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
they'd have to be brought up.
Okay. So the modification and a subdivision is what? Basically, you just want a driveway instead of a road.
It's a wavered roadway, but essentially, yes, it's for the house on the corner here, which is already accessing it, and then
Yeah.
it's for the one house, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wouldn't be in favor of allowing a driveway like this. And, fire and engineer has also made similar comments. So I had a question whether this is a public or private way, but it sounds like from Carl that it's a private way you're proposing?
Well, right now, it is a private way. It's in existence, but it's just not built up to a standard that's suitable as frontage, and that's what.
So
we're
you're not
trying-
asking the town to accept it?
No.
It will remain private, okay. And I don't think, the R values are noted at the intersection, so that, if you
The
can add that,
radiuses?
please. The radius, the turn radius, coming off of, Wendy, going onto the new street.
Okay, yep.
And so on the plan, what we need to see is, the area of the lot, show that you have the frontage, the setbacks. That is all, I couldn't identify that on the plans. You stated what it has to be, but I don't see what you've shown on the particular lot.
Sure. So, on the existing conditions plan, for example, we have a lot area with a frontage and all the bounds around the entire piece. This would be, I think, sheet two.
Which sheet?
Sheet number 2, it's ID 3, or just existing conditions. It should be right after the cover sheet.
Yeah, I don't see the. I don't know. Okay, I'll check that. And did you submit to us a development impact statement?
No, I believe that we asked for a waiver on the development impact statement.
And I agree with engineering, whatever waivers you're requesting, although I have a feeling you're not gonna get all of them, need to be listed on the plans.
Yep, not a problem.
And I also have a note, that I'd like to see comments from sewer and water, and, even the building commissioner, if they have something to say about the situation.
Okay.
And then just the locus plan on this front sheet is not clear.
Yeah, the photocopy comes out.
If you could change the colors to be more sensitive black and white copying.
Yeah,
Yeah, the color ones is definitely
Yeah.
better. Yeah, we can,
hear what the other board members say. Thank you.
Phil? I just want to reiterate what, the Carl's comments and what Sarah said. I have a question on the road. You said that there's wetlands now so is that, if it was wanted to build the road all the way through, could that be done now, or is there wetlands there that would preclude that?
We weren't hired to do
Okay,
an
yeah.
analysis on that. I
Yeah.
do know, for example, this part of the road right here, the wetlands come right up to the edge of the gravel, based on the wetland delineation that was done. Could it be permitted and completed? I'm sure that there are methods to do that, but we didn't analyze that.
Yeah. No, so I think the whole issue about the paving the road for fire safety is compelling, and, as long as the fire department is asking for that, I think it's really mandatory. Now, how that gets engineered, you mentioned a cul-de-sac may not be practical, and they were, that he was, the fire department was asking to at least go down to the hydrant.
Sure.
So that would be, but that would need to be resolved in working with the fire department on something that really allows that. I mean, their concern is making sure that a fire truck can go in there and won't get stuck either getting in or getting out.
Sure.
So there good reasons for having those minimum standards.
Yeah.
I had a lot of other notes, let me just go through. And certainly, so putting all of, as already mentioned, but just to reiterate, putting all the variances
Yeah, on the cover
on
sheet.
that first page is very important. And I think on that, first of all, numbering the sheets, 1, 2, 3,
Mhm.
it looks like there's C, D, there are a number of letters, which was hard to read, actually.
Okay. You'd prefer a numbering system?
That's what we usually get, sheet
Not a problem.
1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, or if you're gonna do letters, A, B, C, D, E, I think would be, better. And then, I think as Sarah alluded to, so I did not see dimensions on what would be sheet, D, I think, or,
You mean sheet D?
it's the one, it's labeled, existing conditions plan.
Sure. So you're
Yeah.
not seeing the dimensions around?
I'm sorry, it was one before that. It's the form, the one that Carl said rename.
Oh, on the
Layout
cover sheet.
plan?
The land, yeah, it's the first one that has details on it, yeah.
Oh, the first one was details.
Yeah, it'd be sheet 2 it'd be the second sheet, right after the cover.
All right, so that would be the
This
existing
one.
conditions.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And you're not seeing the dimensions?
Yeah,
And then there's a
Yeah,
little
that's it.
200 right there.
yeah, I may be mistaken what I was thinking of, so.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I think that's the main thing is understanding, how you can meet the fire safety requirements. Also having a road that makes sense as far as, what gives a minimum amount of roadway for access.
It sounds like I
So-
need to talk to the fire chief.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
and work with engineering,
I'm getting loud and
Yeah.
clear. Thank you.
yeah. I'm good for now.
Oh, is that okay?
Yeah.
Kate?
Basically the same thing, so we have a history that we don't vote against public safety,
Sure.
for obvious reasons. So I'm just a little disappointed, like his comments were May, and the engineer's comments were June. So I was hoping that we would have had some, improvement by then, but I think before you come back, you definitely need to meet with both of them and
Sure.
You set? John?
And just reiterating past comments, dimensions on all of the sheets really, I think, are lacking. Another question basing it on this little locus map here you have.
Sure.
How much of Heidi Street is developed? Is any of it developed?
No, not really. When you look at the constructed part, it's pretty much just the throat or the entrance in to pretty much where the radii stops.
The radius, just the beginning and ending of the street.
It's correct.
It's
So
pretty,
So there's the two houses on either side of the opening that exist.
I think in this case, this house access is from Wendy.
Yeah.
This one does access from Heidi.
Okay, and on the opposite end of Heidi, both of the houses that are on Kyle Road, are they built out?
The two corner house lots are built out, yes.
Okay, so those are built out there, okay.
it's pretty vegetated when I drove by there.
Okay,
So-
yeah, I stopped at either end, and it's basically woodland in between, yeah. And, yeah, the idea of the fire department they don't really want a dead-end street there. They want to be able to get in and get out and circle around. The other lot, do you know if the other lots are owned, have been sold off? Are they still owned by the developer, or?
I believe that there are a couple of lots in there that are owned by some of the abutting owners. So for example, I believe that the owners of this property here own this lot and possibly this lot.
Okay.
Besides that, I believe the rest of them are owned by the original developer. Or the developer. Yeah.
Okay, so the Carl Swanson originally.
Mr. Chair, could I ask a question?
Yeah.
Have you talked to that abutter there that owns the other lot?
My client has.
Your client has,
Yep.
okay. We'd be interested to hear their comments.
Yeah.
Do you know if the butters?
I was contacted by them, and they said they were in favor.
They were in favor? Okay.
Yeah, well, it improves their access to their house, yeah.
But do they want a driveway that goes to not their lot, or do they want a road?
He didn't share specifics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
I'm assuming the roadway was originally laid out to the proper 46-foot width, whatever.
I'm sorry.
The original roadway was laid out to the proper width, whatever.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and you're looking now to do a gravel surface going back only as far as you need for the house,
That's correct.
okay? One point at least, I think, you need to go the full width of the frontage to provide yourself with frontage. You have to have a road in front of your house to have the frontage. So I think you have a minimum of the far side of your lot to get to develop some sort of roadway too.
Okay.
And you'll be putting in a septic system, is that correct?
That is correct.
This looks all set. I guess that's it until we hear back from fire,
Okay.
sewer. Yeah.
All right. I'll run through mine. I think we talked about Concom, need a letter soon, water and police. Gonna make sure the update on the standards are shown. Now, since you've been speaking, a couple of my comments have gotten changed, but here's one. You do not show a non-waiver plan, do you?
No, I do not.
Well, that's one of the, you have to. We just can't give waivers out because we don't know if you can do it or not.
Okay.
Okay? That's a must, but more importantly, just for you to understand is, if you didn't show the waiver plan and you had the non-waiver plan and we didn't grant one waiver, your plan would go.
Yep.
So you need to show everything so that yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. So we're gonna need that for next time to show you can do it.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Now, something just come up in the fact that you're saying this is an existing subdivision approved back 69 for Kyle Senior and all that. But it was never bonded, we know that. And we also know that you can't sell lots on a subdivision that isn't bonded. We know that. But if you're saying that there are a couple people on the street that have lots on there, so therefore it's not a subdivision anymore.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
Well, the original subdivision in 70 was in compliance with rules. and-
Yeah, I understand that, but it was never bonded.
Right. and-
So therefore, you can't, you either buy the whole thing, or you get a bond, you can sell off lots.
The rules at the time were primitive, I guess is the word I
Yeah, but
don't wanna
we're in
use.
2022.
And with so many years, 50 years later, so at the time, that wasn't necessarily the procedure.
Okay, but what you're representing to us that this is just a modification of a subdivision. My point is, it fails to be a subdivision because you have people who bought lots. It's just what we call paper street now.
So it's a street laid out, never fully constructed in compliance with the rules at the time, never accepted by the town.
Correct.
We acknowledge all of that.
But it ceases to be a subdivision when you start selling land within the subdivision, because you can't do that. It has to be bonded.
So I'm not aware of any
I don't know that they said
requirement in the
so
statute,
lots.
unless you have a requirement in your rules.
No, it's very simple, is you can't, everybody charges in here once they get a subdivision approved, and then they gotta get a bond, and then they can start selling lots. You agree? You can't start, sell lots until you get a bond?
I'm not aware of that as a statutory requirement.
It's it, doing quite a few, it's in there. You can't sell any lots. You can sell the whole subdivision, but you can't sell individuals. The whole purpose of Mass General Law subdivision controls, the bond, is to protect the people that are buying these lots. It's their guarantee that it's gonna get done. So if
So
these,
I agree with you, that's the way it happens.
but if
Absolutely.
if these were sold, then it doesn't meet the statute of a subdivision anymore. It's just kinda goes by the wayside. It's just land now.
But Jack, it does say in 81W that a planning board on its own motion or on the petition of any person interested shall have power to modify, amend, or rescind its approval of a plan of a subdivision or to require a change in a plan as a condition of retaining its status as an approved plan. And then it goes on to say that no modification, amendment, or resuscitation of the approval of a plan of a subdivision or changes in such plan shall affect the lots of such subdivision that have been sold or mortgaged in good faith or for a valuable consideration subsequent to the approval of the plan or any, and go on.
Yeah, so what it says is they can't do it because it says you already got people on there.
But it implies that, I would have to, I don't, you know.
That's why I suggested the building commissioner, because,
it would
I mean,
imply-
is this a paper street or a subdivision?
The building
Like,
commissioner, he wouldn't know subdivision control, but what it says is if it's already been mortgaged, which these are, you can't change it.
Well, it just says you can't do it unless approval, you can't change anything that somebody already owns, already got approval
And
of.
that's what they're doing.
But,
Their
The scope of our
modification is a
request is
driveway
limited to this
instead of
one
a
lot.
road.
No, but your scope, remember, we're dealing from here to here. We're not just dealing here. It's either the whole thing or nothing. You're modifying a subdivision, correct? The subdivision goes from Wendy all the way up to,
I tried to articulate in my letter of request that we only want relief with regard to this one lot.
but when do you agree you're modifying a subdivision that was previously approved?
A very small facet.
But, no, are you, either this one or this one, it's, you know, I'll say the old thing, you can't be half pregnant. You are modifying a subdivision.
Yes.
That's what you're trying to do. So it's the entire thing. So if you have issues where people have more, or own it, either they're part of it, maybe they bought it before this was created, or whatever, but if they're on it, they'd have to be the applicants. That's one way. I mean, this is,
although it just says that you can't make changes that shall affect the lots in such subdivision that have
Yeah,
been
that's-
sold or mortgaged.
yeah, so they can't.
It doesn't
But-
say you can't.
But, Phil, the point
The
is,
town of Walpole is an owner on the
Yeah.
subdivision as well, so.
we're not the owner.
If I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the last paragraph of the second page of my letter reads as follows. Petitioner expressly states that the petitioner does not want to alter, amend, or modify any component or aspect of the previous approval of the Swanee Estates, which was essentially created and built out 50 years ago. So we very carefully articulated that we're not asking for any relief that affects anybody or anything other than the one lot we want to own.
You most definitely are. If you're providing a driveway to your house and not a road to future lots to be developed, you are affecting those lots.
If somebody wanted to buy those lots in the future and build the road out to current day specs, they could do that.
No, well, here's the other thing is, someone's gonna say it's not my, it is my business. Are you buying the whole street?
No.
How do you buy a part of a subdivision that isn't built? You can't do that.
We want to buy one lot.
Okay, you could buy the lot, I don't disagree, if it was bonded. But the road ain't bonded.
Well, perhaps, we're gonna be back.
Yeah, I understand.
I certainly need to look into
Yeah,
that question.
okay. That's why I was wondering if you buy, if you're buying the whole thing, that's one thing, but if you only buying, you're buying a lot on a subdivision, but you're trying to make your own driveway, is kind of the way this is.
Buying a lot of a subdivision, or we want to just make a driveway to it.
Yeah, okay. Well, I agree, we'll be back next time. I'm not gonna, beat this. I mean, I think you
No, so I
understand.
think we both, yeah, I need to educate myself, and hopefully I can help educate the board on the legal question there.
Okay. The other thing that, it wasn't, because it wasn't shown, when you're talking to the deputy fire chief, I should say, you better talk to him about the 750-foot requirement he has. I don't know, going around a curve, but typically if it's 750 feet straight ahead, anything 751 and over, no. So I don't know, because it's a T, I'm not gonna speak for him. So you might as well get that one flushed out too. Like I said, the biggest thing is getting a waiver plan, so if you get picked off here, at least you still have a plan left,
Okay.
if that makes sense. Of course, the other thing is, and I don't know, Kyle didn't mention it, but I would've thought we would've had plans from the I keep saying 70, whenever it was approved, the originals. I think that should be part of this submission too.
Okay, not a problem.
Okay, so we're just going back and forth. Because it's old, everybody doesn't think anything, but at least we should have what was done there.
Yeah.
It'll help them for comparison for anything that's changed a little.
I hope
And the
now,
decision.
'cause at the registry, there's only one or maybe two sheets.
No, there's quite a few.
Are there?
Yeah,
Okay,
the-
whatever you have, because you are taking a plan, it's like on the building inspector, here's my old, and so it can be checked out, especially by the town engineering department.
Yep, not a
Okay.
problem.
The other one I found interesting, but is the water, I've been down there and I walked it and stuff, and I know the poles are in there, I'm surprised they haven't fallen over being in that water for that long, a few of them, but the water line's still good?
Yeah, they have that as a comment to test, and obviously that is something that we're gonna do, hopefully before the next meeting.
Is there water in it?
We've been told that the superintendent believes.
Phil said it's live.
Oh, it is live, okay. The only reason I bring that up, just so you understand, there was one in Pinnacle and East Walpole, it was 2,100 feet, and what happened is it never got filled, and so the town engineer, they did some exploratory, and all the glands were gone. So if it's, I'm not the expert at that, so maybe if they don't have an issue because it's been full, but just, if it is, at least they may not be wore out on you.
Okay.
And do they actually have a plan?
Sorry?
Does the sewer and water have a plan of that water line?
I don't know. We'll talk with them though, because that's one of my to-do departments to check with.
And the other thing that amazes me is that's been in the woods for 50-something years and there hasn't been a leak. Or if that's maybe that's your wetlands.
And Kyle also mentioned making sure the hydrant works. That was another, there are a number of things he mentioned in his comments that need to be addressed.
Okay, that's, I just wanna make sure I got all this up to snuff for you. Yep, okay, that's my comment. So, with that being said, anybody in the audience have any questions, comments relative to this? If you do, I'd ask you to come up to the mic and, yep,
Take your name.
and name and address for the record.
My name is Dan Cesario. I live at 11 Carl, right behind Heidi Street. So just, that's my, I guess, comment or question is, for 50 years, nothing has been built behind my house, basically, which is, great for me, right, selfishly. I love the view and everything, and I'm not opposed to a house being built back there, but whatever infrastructure was not acceptable, or for whatever reason they didn't build 50 years ago, all of a sudden now we're gonna say, we're gonna build one house, what about the rest of the street, and how does that impact, and I guess my concern is, drainage and the wetlands, just looking at the map, does that drainage then affect, in essence, behind my house, which then furthers, basically swampland, which is back there, and turns it into some type of cesspool in a way, so again, I don't really necessarily know the waivers and, the rules and regulations, but it seems like there was a long list of waivers being requested, whether it's the fire department or, for curbs and whatnot. So just to consider that, are we basically trying to squeeze this one house in and skirt some of the rules and regulations just to say we have a house there, and then you still have the rest, it is a paper road that goes through the whole way. So, and again, like drainage, so if there's a house built, okay, there's a drainage plan, but what does that mean for the rest of the street? Because if you walk back there, there's, especially in the wintertime or heavy rains, there's flooding, or there's actually open sewer grates back there also. So what does that mean for the rest of the street as far as safety even?
Okay, the standards are pre-runoff post-runoff can't exceed pre-runoff. Basically, it means it's any water that's there now has to be taken care of through some type of structure, whether it's a retention pond or something else. They just can't let it shoot off into the woods. So it shouldn't affect you or the road or anything. So you're familiar with retention ponds, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
You're familiar with retention ponds?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what would probably have to happen, or something underground with stone, so that whatever water's coming off now is gonna go in there. Typically, what you find is that you have less of a runoff problem because they're taking all the water, not just because it's been paved. So that all has to be taken consideration, and they can't deflect it.
Like I said, I'm neither opposed to it, for or against, but again, just some of those concerns, and even the fire, making sure that there's access to the hydrant, and then maybe even further, I guess.
Yep.
That's all, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Ma'am?
Hi, Lynette O'Leary. I'm at 16 Wendy Street. I'm here on behalf of myself and my husband tonight. Couple of notes, comments, and concerns. So I live at the very end of the street, kind of across from the butters that we were speaking about earlier. I've met with Eversource before because we do have some issues with our electricity in our home. We're at the end of the grid, and that our whole West Pine Estates neighborhood splits two different grids. And Eversource told me a couple years ago that basically our grid is at the end of its life, and that's why we don't get we'll have power issues at my house. So I don't know how this will disrupt that. So that is something that I think is gonna be a larger problem for individuals on Wendy Street to build this out. From my perspective, the road would really need to be paved, not just for aesthetic purposes, but when you're talking about the Butters house, they do have frontage that the fire department can access. We have the cul-de-sac at the end, and then that unit would be paved up, would make sense. That's all.
Oh, okay. I would assume when they come, if they're gonna wire the house up, they gotta look at everything, because typically they're not gonna hook something up that's deficient. They shouldn't. But the way they go with all the poles sitting on sidewalks, could be years before they get down there. So, okay. Anyone else have any questions, comments? Okay, being none, we need an extension, Kate?
We're good through September 30th, but I don't know what you're going to do.
Okay, yeah, these guys seem to get a lot of work for a month. Think you're gonna accomplish everything? Let me tell you the real, shake your head. Well, we will have to see the plans within 2 weeks.
And the comments.
Yeah,
October 6th.
That,
I
I'm
guess,
gonna do my best.
I guess you're not going away this Labor Day, huh?
So we request an extension through 30
No,
September?
it's September 30th, but I'm just saying is we call it the 14-day rule, because we have people that give us plans the night of. No, so you'd have to have them in at least 14 days in advance, which would be September 1st. So that puts a big crunch on you.
Yeah, it is.
And plus you gotta go see the fire chief and probably Kyle too, and get,
Conservation, sewer and water.
well, if it's conservation, it's easy as you said, is they can just write your note, and the same thing with the sewer and water, what's up with them.
So if we can't make the 14 days, I'll request a continuance and not.
You can, yeah, we can schedule for the 15th, and if you guys aren't ready, you can just give us a continuance, we'll go to the, and you tell us when you think you'll be ready. But at least if we got September 30th, we're all covered.
Okay.
All right, so we don't need an extension, do we, Kate? No? Okay. We'll pick this meeting up on September 15th at,
7:30?
I don't want to put in front of America.
I'm sorry?
Awesome. 7:30 on September 15th.
Thank you.
Okay? Let us know ahead of time, you think you're gonna get there or not.
Absolutely.
And remember, not you, but also you're gonna have all these other departments wanting to review them, and for them to do it 14 days, normally they give them 35, but with revisions and to this amount, they may meet more, and the less time you give them, the meaner they get. Okay, all right, we'll see you September 15th. Okay, thank you.
I got stuff there.
This is mine. This stuff, yeah. All right, moving on. The hour being after 7:35, we have a continued public hearing from 1429 Main Street Site Plan Approval, and right after that, it was 7:36 Marion Street Subdivision Approval, which have been run concurrent because they are together. With that being said, we have a hearing open, and John? Okay,
Did you just open the site plan?
both. What?
You have the green card?
Oh. All right, we'll do the green cards then. Well, Kate will.
3 days.
3 days? Yeah, well, what about? All right.
It's gonna take a while.
Okay, now. It's been a while, John, and let's see, trying to find out, I had some meeting notes back then. There we go.
Can I help you with all that?
Thanks, though.
Okay, John, I believe the last time we had anything of substance was May 19th. Does that sound right to you?
That could be right, Mr. Chairman, and to tell you the truth, I just want to focus on one aspect of this, which is the landscaping, which is a little bit different for a subdivision, but I'd like to sort of get that straightened away and just tell you what we did. We had to make some changes to the layout slightly. I don't know if you remember, but the owners inside the building, the condo owners asked for some specific landscaping that they wanted, so just wanted to sort of get that straightened away, and then hopefully, we do have plans ready, but I didn't really want to sort of bring in revised plans.
Yeah, but you got the full comments. I'm sorry, John, I'm just trying to get
No,
the
that's
photos.
okay, but I have copies of the plans,
So
and I
we-
also have copies of the plans for some of the apartments.
Okay, so if I'm to understand, you're showing us what you want to do, but you haven't officially submitted.
No, no, that's right, because this is something that usually, right, for a subdivision, generally, we show a subdivision road, and the planning board's rules and regulations say plant a tree every 50 feet.
Yep.
This goes above and beyond where, and we're not adverse to this, but we're just saying that this is a little bit different because two things, I believe, have to happen. We have to satisfy the abutters who asked for this, and make sure, and maybe three things have to happen. Make sure it gets bonded, so it actually gets installed. And then the third thing, which is the unusual thing, is So this landscaping happens on a private lot. So how does the board or the applicant assure the board that these landscaping features are going to stay permanently and maybe even be replaced as they need to be replaced? So that's why I would prefer to sort of have a discussion of this. We have the plans done, believe me, but I just didn't want to do them twice.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, John, and put both hands on that so you don't fall. I agree with you. Because I've been saying forever, and I don't know if it was you or Maggie or even Mark put the street trees in. I hate them on people's private properties. Because what I said is, yeah, you put them in, and homeowner can come out 5 minutes later and cut them down, and we can't do anything about them. That is an issue. I don't think most people do that, and I understand what you're trying to do here.
Right, and this one goes even above and beyond that. I mean, we could come in and say, oh, you know, in fact, that some of them still show on this plan, you know, here are your 10 street trees, or whatever it is. It's probably even less than that. See you later, thanks, we meet your regulations. But, you know, this is, I would say one of the most, I've worked on some unusual projects, and this is one of the most unusual projects.
Okay.
Because we have,
All right, I understand. Hold on again, I'll help you solve your problem. The lot itself, is it over the amount of square foot you need, or you just right at the edge?
the lot is 20,740 square feet, so there's an extra 740 square.
I'm just, hate the term spitballing, but couldn't you just have a little where the plants are going and put a part of the road? So in theory, they can't touch it? Does that make sense?
That makes sense. If, so now the plants will be part of the town's infrastructure.
Yeah. Well, what it does is, a town ain't gonna come and clip them naturally, but the homeowner, if he goes in and knocks them down, at least his, what do you call it? Town can go back and say, no, 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 because it protects the people in the condos, you know?
Right, so we showed, and I can give you small size plans if you want.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna give the abutters.
1, 2, 3, Kate.
Is there another one for Carl too, or
For Carl?
Carl
Carl
Jr.
Junior?
It's Joe. It's Joe.
If it was Carl Jr., he wouldn't be here, he'd be on a boat in Florida.
Too hot.
No, not on that boat.
Give Carl another Jolly Rancher.
Okay, so I'm just gonna do my little presentation, so John Silverstein, the attorney. Chris is not here, he's on vacation somewhere. So John's gonna speak somewhat to it. I think they submitted a restrictive covenant that may be palatable, but I hear what you're saying. If the board would rather, I don't think I can get all of these trees within the layout of the road, but I can probably get a lot of them, especially the ones that are between the building and the cul-de-sac.
Okay, now you mentioned restrictive covenant, that's all well and good, but who enforces it if they get cut?
So, right, so I can just tell you, so let me just show you the three places. There were the owners of the condominium who asked for, and so this is one thing we did, you can see there's a little curve here. So we bent the cul-de-sac up a little bit, so it's a little bit farther away from the building. There was a retaining wall there before that was going to prevent, we could say, oh yeah, we're gonna plant the trees, but probably after a few years, they were gonna be a problem with a retaining wall there. So we've got rid of the retaining wall. and we're able to plant a double row of the green giant arborvitae along that area right there. And that was the owners were asking about that. The woman to the left here, it shows us, Ruth Chamberlain here, but I know that she has since sold that, but that's how the assessors gave us the abutter name. So there are some existing plantings along here that would remain. We don't really see any reason for those to be removed. And then we showed 4 of the arborvitaes behind those plants. Those I don't believe we could get into the road layout just because of their location. And then Steve Lynch, who's here in the back, asked for plantings between his property on William Street and in the back of this property. So we showed a double row of giant arborvitae across the back. So what I've done in other towns, I did it in Westwood, I think I've done it in some other towns, is put those in a drain easement. In the drain easement, there's no drainage there, but the advantage of a drain easement is we can put conditions in there that say, well, you got a drainage, you can't cut any trees, you gotta maintain the trees, this and that. And, there's that typical language that goes within these easements that say, well, if you cut down the trees, then the town has the ability to go in there and plant the trees and charge you for it. There's some, documents that you guys have accepted in the past, maybe not this board, but I'm sure the chairman has seen those, that can be effective to make sure that the plantings stay. So that's why I sort of did it the way I did, and that's why I didn't submit after I thought about it, and it was getting late with the 2 weeks and all that, and we were rushing to do it, and I'm saying, I know there's gonna be mistakes on these plans anyway, so let's just get this out of the way. It seemed to me that this is the sort of thing that needs to be resolved with the abutters. And, the abutters have all said they're not against this house. I think that the town officials have all said that they're not against putting the cul-de-sac there, and in fact, it's sort of an improvement to the town. We've talked about that. And so now it's just how can we sort of, keep the abutters, pleased with the proposal, but because it's, a subdivision and a single lot, and there's, rules and regulations and laws that, sort of control this, how can we sort of work that out so everybody's happy? And I'm not the one who, knows all about this stuff. I can only tell you in the past, and I can't even tell you how successful those things were, but we did do them with drain easements and put that same language that's often in the drain easements to the town of Walpole and other towns.
So you'd rather put all the vegetation in a drain easement?
Well, that's what I proposed. I think that, I think what was it sent to the board? I think that I think that there would be a covenant with what the attorneys would ask.
Okay. I think you're looking for our input, so, it's almost like a poll, how we want to do it. John, they want to do drainage easements, kind of protect it? That way if they do cut it, town can come back at them?
Yeah, it's something, so right now, as on this proposed plan, the street trees are outside of the street itself, so they're at the mercy of whoever owns the new house, is that correct?
Yes, it's gonna be a private lot, privately owned, it's not a condominium, it's not something.
So the town has
same
no
as every-
saying at the moment as to what they do with them.
You have the same,
Yes, if
you can say
some kind
right
of
now,
saying to protect the existing homeowners, I agree, it's a good idea.
Yeah, because we've had, when we moved the drains onto private property, were you there, was that you, or was that Mark, or was that Maggie?
I think it was me, but.
Yeah, okay,
Did it come
I
out
knew you'd
good?
take credit for that
If
one.
it came out good, I'm taking credit. If you don't like it, it wasn't me.
And the whole purpose is you didn't want these stuck in people's backyards, so that way, the people had to maintain them, but they couldn't go in and go hog wild, because the town could come in and fix them and charge them, so we do got some protection like that.
Right.
And we haven't had an issue, I don't think.
No, and we can, and, you know, maybe that language needs to be manipulated a little bit, but I think it's something that's worked with the town, and I know I've used that model in other towns, and they've been happy with that, so.
I'll believe you, John, I'm gonna do a lot of homework to see where it didn't work, where you proposed to do this. I'll find one, two. All right, so, you think that, Kate, what do you think?
Joe, have you heard anything about,
I haven't heard anything
No.
about this one, no.
And have you seen it in the past?
Well, we do it for all your drainage easements and all your
no, I
retention
understand
spaces.
that, but I mean using it in this manner.
Well, you're gonna put it on the plan, it's the only way really to have some protection, because
Okay.
they don't have enough square feet to, make it all part of the town like that.
If it's gonna protect it, then I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, okay. Phil?
Yeah, it sounds like if it works, I'd be in favor of it. And then unrelated, I just have a question, maybe you can take it up at the end. What's the progress on the Japanese knotwood? And that might be,
John took it out, right, the job?
No.
No, it's not.
No, it's actually better
Ma'am.
than ever.
Ma'am?
It's
Ma'am?
going better than ever?
Hello, if you wanna fight with each other, go out there, please.
I didn't mean to digress from where we are, but I just wanted you to take that up at the end when we finish this discussion.
Okay, Sarah?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, next to the Lynch property, but can you say again, are you able to do it against the other abutting
Well, we
property?
can we can extend that drainage easement down the side here, right?
Okay.
Because we've got a 15-foot side yard requirement anyway, so
That's
that
possible.
really doesn't bother anybody. So I think a 10-foot easement along this side. I think we had talked about this at the last meeting, about maybe squaring off the cul-de-sac, not the pavement, but the
Yeah.
layout of it.
Yeah.
We can try to include as many of those shrubs within the layout as possible, and then anything that's outside of it, we can use the drainage easement. So does that make sense to you, John?
Sure. So, Mr. Chair, Jonathan Silverstein.
Could you go to the
So you'll be
microphone
on-
so people?
So you can watch yourself on YouTube tomorrow?
Look forward to doing that. Jonathan Silverstein for the applicant. So we had proposed to the abutters that we would enter into a declaration of restrictive covenants that would be to their benefit, enforceable by them. I think we're agnostic if the board's more comfortable having some sort of drainage easement that's enforceable by the town, that's fine. I don't know what would make the abutters feel more protected, if they have the ability privately to enforce it or if the town does. We're fine either way. Obviously, the intent is to make sure that those are protected, so it's whatever the board's comfortable with.
Okay, now, correct me if I'm wrong, our way of doing it with the town could come in and these people come down and bang on Jim Johnson's door and say, you gotta fix this. But if they do it and it's on their own restrictive covenant, it's up to them, they'll be down a dead end battling out, right?
Yeah, I mean, we could make the town an additional beneficiary in the restrictive covenant if the town wanted to also have the ability to enforce. I guess the other thing I'll say is you could certainly make it a condition of subdivision approval that these trees not be disturbed. And you might say, well, do we have the ability to impose conditions on the private lot? And my answer always is, for 26 years until this past March, I was a partner at KP Law. My answer was always, well, a condition that's not appealed is enforceable. And we certainly would not appeal any such condition. So we're fine with however the board is most comfortable doing it. The intent is to protect these trees, to maintain them, and we're open to whatever makes the board most comfortable.
Okay, so my view is this is protection of the abutters. I'm not gonna speak for them or however they wanna do it. I'd ask that when you meet with them and explain both ways.
Sure.
And let them, hopefully they all agree the same, when I have a drainage unit and this and this and this, but explain to them the pluses and minuses. If it was me, I want the town to do it. I don't wanna deal with it. The guy who just cut down the trees is not gonna be amenable to talk to, is he?
Probably not.
No, so you're better off just going bang, bang down administrator's office, saying, I want my trees back, so. But if you explain that to him, in whichever way, I don't think anybody up here cares, as long as everybody understands and it works. Either or.
Sure.
Okay?
We will do
I have
that.
a question.
Yep.
On the trees next to the cul-de-sac, at what elevation are those? Are those up, like at the road elevation, or are they more down?
So the row that's nearest to the street is
Yeah.
gonna be at the elevation of the street, the other ones are down maybe a couple feet below that.
Okay. So from that 1429, they'll kind of see like a
Yeah.
hill of trees, if you will,
Yeah.
like 2 rows. Okay.
Yeah, and those, you know, I could print out the stuff for you, but those trees, I think, grow to about 30 feet or so they get pretty big, and they grow fairly rapidly for a cedar tree, essentially, is what they are, right? So, compared to a regular cedar tree, which grows very slowly, they grow fairly rapidly, so.
Okay.
They're fairly popular, get a lot of requests for that species of tree in size.
Yeah, so as the chair said, I would just be interested in, you know, what the abutters would like, but I think whatever you do for one side, you should do for the other.
Yeah. I just sort of failed to think about the other ones, but they should all be somehow either in a covenant or in an easement, or maybe both. And so that there will be something enforceable, that should somebody cut them down, that they can be replaced.
Okay, so that's what you want to talk to us about this, correct?
That's really all.
So as far as we can go with the Marion Street, right?
That's really all I wanted to bring.
Okay, just trying to move along. I'm gonna have to go back and cross your name off all those little letterheads I got.
They stopped putting all the names on the letterheads when we got to like 35, so.
Oh, I got some back 25 years. So, all right, so you're all set here, so we're gonna continue this, correct, John?
Yeah, I think we continue it for a month, and then in 2 weeks, we're gonna have revised plans into you. Like I said, these plans have already
You
been,
said they were done.
they're done.
Take you 2 weeks to come
Not
back?
copied.
Takes you 2 weeks to drive down?
No, but, you know, there's some things now that aren't done, right? I
Okay.
failed to show
But before I
those.
move on, because we still got it open, any of the abutters or people wanna say anything about, we're just dealing with the Marion Street, the way he's proposed, the plants and how,
Well, I'm on Marion Street, so maybe.
Yeah.
Does that have
Yeah.
to do with the planting that I just received?
yeah,
So that's,
Come on up.
You're on fire.
that's the piece that.
yeah, I know, we're all old friends now.
I just received this plan, this is the first I've talked to.
First, we've seen it too.
And May 19th, I did submit a different screening plan that I think you all got a chance to review. My name is Steve Lynch, I live at 80 William Street. The other screening plan has a 30-foot buffer zone back there. This new one has a 10-foot easement, which I'm not sure what an easement is, and again, my concern is, if it is subdivided, the landowner that you've already discussed, how does it protect us? I don't want to be out there policing trees.
Well, that's
So
what
that's my concern, that it doesn't have the number of trees, what type of trees, so there's still a little concern on what is being done on the property.
okay, what
I'm
he's,
not opposed to a house.
what he's actually doing is not required by us. All we require is a street tree every 50 feet. What they seem to do is proposing more against your property. And what we just discussed is, if it's private property, guy could come and, just like you, go right to the line. What's the protection? They had said they can do one where you guys get some restrictive covenant against the neighbor who cuts it down, but then that becomes you to go sue him. Another way is, what John had suggested, is you do it as a drainage easement, because the town has those all the time. And so if anything happens to it, say they cut the trees down, it's against the town, not necessarily you people. So you guys just call up, I keep saying Jim Johnson, and call him up and say, Jim, where are my trees? You gotta put them back, because it's a town. So it will be the town taking action against the person who cut them down, not you guys. So basically, it's the town's expense if they get cut.
Yeah, it's just a couple of questions I have on the amount of trees and what's going there and stuff like that. Again, I'm not opposed to any project that's going on back there. But that's my concern, is the easement that they're
Yeah,
speaking about.
and I asked Jonathan to explain it to you guys so you understand, you know,
Sure.
in a meeting, but if it was me, what the town do it? Guy cuts them down.
Well, that's the way I feel.
Yeah, you
I
don't,
love these trees, I really don't, but I don't wanna see the trees disappear.
yeah, and you don't wanna be sitting there having to fire up an attorney just to take the guy to court that could last forever and cost you 10 grand for 2 trees or something.
Yep.
And John's proposal is just like we have in drainage, if people own the property, do something to it, affects it, and they don't wanna do it, town comes in, they fix it, and then they bill them or put them a lien on their property.
Good.
Okay? Okay. Ma'am,
Just a quick one. Again, like him, I'm not against a house.
need you up there.
Oh, yeah. Not against a house. Actually, John Marini.
For the record, just so we,
My name is Lynn Vendetti, and I actually own the Chamberlain House and
Yep.
had for 6 some odd years. But John Marini actually met me as I was floating in my pool. He got stuck in his own property because he couldn't get out of the bamboo. So he promised me that if I signed off on him building a house, that he would put arborvitaes up here. And I said, like you said, what stops the person who builds the house from cutting those down? And so he promised that he would put it right on my retaining wall. So, and he said he would sign off on that as long as I signed off on a house.
well,
So-
okay, just so you understand, your private deals have nothing to do
Oh,
with
no,
us.
no, I'm just saying, I'm not against a house, not whatsoever. And plus, they did a good attempt, a semi-attempt at getting rid of the bamboo, but the landscaper turned around and said to my mother, he started to dig it up, and he goes, "There's no way I can get rid of this. There's no way." And he came in, he started, and he gave up. And he walked away, and it's growing back. It's very invasive. It wouldn't be to my beneficial not to have a house there because it would make them take out the bamboo. The problem is nobody wants to touch it. Nobody wants to deal with it. They gave up, and it's back. So I don't know whether it's John's fault or what's fault, but it's something that is very invasive, and maybe a house, but I almost feel bad for the person who buys the house, may go through their lawn or whatever. That's all I have to say. Not against the house, just privacy and enough drainage, and
Now, the question is, what he's proposing, the plants for you, is it on your property or his?
mine.
All right, because Mr. Gloss or Mr. Silverstein, how would we resolve this to make sure it does happen? Because we,
Yeah, so I didn't know about this separate agreement.
It was
But
it was a
there are-
poolside
John, you
agreement.
gotta stay with these guys.
So can I just ask while she's here? So there's existing plantings here, which we're not going to remove, and we're gonna add 4 of the arborvitae, the giant arborvitae. Would you rather see something else? So that we can,
Well, there's spruces right there,
right,
right?
right,
So if,
right here.
and
We're
originally.
showing 4 more.
Oh, there's my.
Oh,
Nice to see you.
but we need
Glad you
to,
get out of the backyard.
I promised you to put these trees up, right?
Yep.
But he put them on our land, on the land for the spot. You want me to put on your land?
Yep, I do. Because the other person can cut them down. I want them right on my retaining wall, but,
These 5, 4 trees right here.
well, you already have the spruces right there.
some separate.
Yeah,
Yeah, right, so these little shorties here,
yeah.
we can rip those out and put those arborvitaes right there and,
No on your side.
huh?
Okay, I have no problem.
Well, it's a great thing when you have a poolside agreement. I'm glad I got you out of your own property.
Okay, well, I'm gonna paint the.
Call it, thank you.
Whoa, ma'am, we're not done yet. I'm gonna tell you the downside. If something isn't written in agreement, how it can get in for our decision, we
Yeah.
have no power of it, so if he never does it, then you gotta go after him personally.
Oh, that's no problem. I'm that kind of girl.
Okay.
So, I have my moments when I can be a little nasty.
Okay, then John, you'll have to redo your plan on how they're gonna do theirs.
So we're not gonna I mean, we're not taking down those existing.
Oh, no, whatever's there, you don't have to take down. If you're adding these, that's fine. Okay,
They have their agreement.
okay,
Yeah, that's
All
what
right.
I'm saying too.
yeah. Okay. Gotta come up again. Why don't you sit in the front row?
I just, now that the Japanese knotweed was brought up, if I could just, say a concern I have on it. I have it now going within 100 feet of my septic system, and I think we know that that needs sun, dirt, and water. We're in a drought, but I'm pretty damn sure that stuff is probably pretty close to my leaching field. It's on my property, it wasn't there before, so I am more concerned about my septic system than the trees, the house, and everything else. So I don't know how we go about that.
Well, to be candid here, we don't control vegetation. We've been trying to help you guys all along, but there's nothing in subdivision control that can do anything for us. I would suggest that you talk to someone at the Board of Health, because they must know how to stop this, or it must happen a lot of places, and see, and then if you get that in agreement, if it's just a simple thing for them to do, to sign off, however you wanna do it.
Board of Health?
Ask the Board of Health, they must have faced this, is there a way to make sure it doesn't come towards your leaching field? Yeah, what have they seen? They would be the experts at this, because this isn't just yours, I'm sure it's all over the state, there must be,
Yeah, I'm sure.
there must be a simple way or some way they do it. So if you ask them, and then you can talk to your neighbors here on the subdivision, see what you can come up with. Phil?
Just a couple of things about the Japanese knotweed. First of all, it's out everywhere. So, you know, no one property owner is going to be able to eradicate, because if you walk around Walpole, I see it all, you know, on the side of the streets. Wherever it grows wherever there's some sun, on the edge of streams, streets. I noticed it in a lot of the U.S. mailboxes. So what I would advise doing is calling the Audubon or the Mass Extension Service at UMass Extension Service, because they have a lot of information on how to deal with it. I think from a person, an individual should look at how they can control it in their own yard and try to eradicate it. But I can tell you it's very challenging to re-eradicate it if you have a lot of it. So I think it's a concern that, you know, is valid, and but it's not going to be it's not going to be an easy thing.
It's just my septic I'm kind of concerned about. That's.
Yeah, you should definitely consult, I think, with you know, someone who's more expert on how to control it.
Thank you.
Okay. So, with that being said, anybody else questions on the subdivision before we move on to the site plan? There being none, so back to the site plan. Do you have something, or is this all spun and it all gets wrapped up next time?
Yeah, no, it's all gonna get wrapped up next time.
Okay, all right.
So we're gonna follow what we talked about as far as the plantings. You're gonna see you're hardly gonna notice it, but there's a slight change in the cul-de-sac, and we will include your suggestion to, you know, ask, you know, to sort of change the configuration to try to include as many of those trees within the right of way as possible. And there'll be the list of waivers will be slightly modified to include those changes, because it's not going to be your conventional cul-de-sac.
But you're gonna show us a non-waivered, right?
We brought one in once before. I don't know if anybody really had a chance to look at it.
No, but we need,
because
John, as you know, you heard before,
Yep, we bring
just
it
in
in.
case, bring it in,
Bring it
and
in.
if you get them all, you're all set. If you don't miss one, you don't wanna be
Yeah.
sitting there,
Yeah,
okay?
and then the other thing is, at the last meeting, about seeing the sewer and water, they were looking for some sort of easement, but it's just impossible to do that at this point. They needed to ask for that when John did the site plan, so
What do they want? Easement for what?
I have no idea.
They own more easements than there is land in this town, and they don't use any of them.
That's right.
You were part of that back in the old days, John.
I was an easement guy.
Yes.
Easement king.
Okay. So we're all set with, we're not gonna do any testimony, we just opened it because we're discussing the subdivision, it's all tied together, so we're gonna continue them both.
Yeah, and I think this was very helpful, because rather than have come in with a whole bunch of plans and dog and pony show and whatever without having this agreement, so now I think we're all in agreement as far as how we're gonna, where we're gonna put the plantings, what type of plantings they're gonna be, and how we're going to make sure, I mean, I'm sure that they're going to be bonded, so that we know they get planted, and then how we're gonna protect them so that they will remain.
Okay. Just, I'll give that little one at the bottom of like your pills, meaning whatever we said tonight isn't binding.
No, I understand that, but I think it's helpful to me because, you know, it's not, it's gonna be time consuming to change the plan.
No, I understand, but I just to throw it out there, just so everybody understands.
No, I understand.
So,
I think we're closer than we were before we had this
okay.
discussion.
Do we need extension, Kate? All right. Can I have extension for the subdivision through September 3rd? You're gonna be ready for the 15th,
Yes.
right? God, we're gonna have everybody back. You guys are gonna know each other. The whole August 18th, we'll be back. All right, can I have an extension through September 30th for the site plan? And give us some writing, so I'll make a motion to allow the applicant extension through September 30th, 2022 for the site plan 1429. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Phil, all those in favor? Aye. And can I have extension for Marion Street subdivision through September 30th?
You're asking me, of course, yes, sorry.
Oh, I know, John's giving the evil eye. Okay, well,
No,
I'll,
no, I understood. The attorneys to answer those types of questions, not me.
that's a more expensive answer, I think.
Yeah.
So, I'll make a motion to allow action up through September 30th, extension for the applicant up through September 30th, 22. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Kate, all in favor? Aye. And time, Kate? It's gonna go in the same order, pretty much. You're gonna be behind.
Heidi's at 7:30, so
So
I don't know if they're gonna go. They weren't sure if they were gonna be ready. So.
Yeah, but we'll put them 7:31.
Okay.
Okay. We'll continue 1429 Main Street until 7:31 PM on September 15th, and we'll continue Marion Street subdivision to 7:32 on September 15th. Okay? All right.
Yeah, that's great, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Bye. John, don't fall over on the way out. I hope I haven't, like,
You agree with a lot of
yeah,
stuff.
now we're buddies. Yeah, Phil.
I'm gonna come take your temperature.
Yeah, I know, I'm hallucinating.
You're okay.
All right. Sorry. I realize you work. Okay, did you check the cards in this?
Oh, did I?
Do we-
I checked the cards, right?
Yep, the butters are all set.
You got my folder?
Chapter has never been opened.
Yeah. All right. All set, Rob? Okay. Notice hereby given, we'll hold a public hearing on July 21st, 2022 at 7:20 for an application received from John Walsh, High Oaks LLC, 82 North Street, Attleboro, Mass. Just so everybody understands, this was open to be continued, that's why the July date. No testimony is taken, and so now we're officially opening it, and the subdivision is off at Delaney Drive and Dover Drive. Said property is Assessors Map 11, parcel 49, Assessors Map 12, parcel 84. Zoning District Rural, applicable area consists of 23.7 acres of land with sewer easements on the property. Said plan is entitled Definitive Subdivision Plan, Northwood Estates 4, a single-family residential subdivision dated April 20th, 2022 by GLM Engineering, and on the laws of Chapter 41, Section 81T. So with that being said, you are open. We have, Kate has checked the cards, they're all checked out, so, Mr. Truax.
Good evening. For the record, Rob Truax, GLM Engineering Consultants, here with John Walsh, the applicant and owner. So we're before you this evening for a definitive subdivision called Northwoods Estates 4. As stated in the legal ad, it's located off Dover Drive, Laney Drive, and High Street, and also it has frontage, a little bit of frontage on Sunny Rock Drive as well. So we're proposing to do a subdivision. The existing site is currently about 23.5 acres. There's a couple wetland areas within the central location of the site. We have been, just as a matter of record keeping, we have had our first hearing with Conservation Commission. We are continued till middle of September. So, we keep going. So the project site is currently undeveloped. This is the last piece of land that the Walshes own in North Walpole. They developed this entire area back over the last, 30, 50 years. His father was involved. So what we're proposing to do is, we're gonna come in, we have several access points on the property. We actually even have an access point off Heritage Drive. So we're coming in off of an access point off Laney Drive. We're coming in off the end of Dover Road, and we're proposing a cul-de-sac off of High Street. The proposal is on Laney Drive, there's 3 cul-de-sacs in total to access the site. The one off Laney Drive will provide access to 7 homes. The extension off Dover Drive is proposed to provide access to 4 homes, and the extension off High Street is proposed to provide access to 2 homes. The site is to be serviced by town sewer. All the sewer stubs are brought into the property from Dover Drive as well as Delaney Drive, so we'll make those connections. Water stubs are there as well. We are gonna put in loop water system. We did have a preliminary meeting with the town engineer, Rick Mattson, and Conservation Commission prior to this filing. And we came to an agreement that the water line will be looped, the one that comes in off Laney, will loop off through the cul-de-sac, and then all the way out, and there is a stub that comes in on this right away, I forget the name of this road. But there is a stub in place that will connect to it at the end of that road. And then the one off Dover Drive, we're going to bring it up through the cul-de-sac, extend up to an easement, and out to the site. So we will have water line loops. There will be sewer brought also up to the home in High Street. And after further discussion, we're gonna bring that sewer up to High Street as well for future extension. So if the town wanted to bring it up High Street, we did do a survey of High Street for the town, for the town engineer. We did cut the elevations of the road so you could see that it could go up the road via gravity and avoid any pumps. So those are a couple things in there. So we are asking for a couple waivers for the overall subdivision. The first one is we're asking for a waiver on the municipal systems impact analysis, with the exception of the stormwater management report, which we submitted. The second one is we're asking for a waiver of the traffic impact data and analysis, request a waiver of that section. In addition to that, what we've done is we've designed this project with no waivers as far as like layout, roadway widths, pavements, cul-de-sac lengths, etc. We are requesting, which we put in the letter, we are requesting waivers for the cul-de-sac coming in off High Street. And we would like to request waivers. I'm going to show you the waiver plan that we put in there with supplemental sheet A and cul-de-sac. And on the waiver plan, what we would do is we would provide one house, eliminate one of the lots in lieu of granting the waivers by the board. We would have a single driveway that would come into that one house. We would ask for a waiver to waive the road down to 12 feet. We would ask for a waiver to remain private. We'd ask for a waiver for any curbing. Pretty much, I have a whole list of waivers here. There's about 9 of them that go through the whole
gamut of waivers to allow that to be a private way and a single driveway to one house lot. The utilities would stay the same. The water line loop would still continue up through that area out to High Street. The sewer would do the same, it would come up into that cul-de-sac and go up to High Street as well. We would combine the two lots, and this would become one large lot. It would become you can see it, just a little over 3 acres. It would be one single lot, if the board saw fit to grant the waivers. If not, we would just continue as a full subdivision road and do the two house lots. The feeling is, and the justification for Mr. Walsh is that if you waive it, he doesn't have to build the road. It's probably a wash, build the road, lose a lot. So it's probably a break-even proposition for him. So if it was waived, we think it's a good plan to waive it. It reduces the impacts on High Street. There's only one house coming out, it's a driveway, basically. There's not two houses. We still bring the utilities through, so we get the town gets the utility connections through that area, and it would just be a waiver. It would also reduce, runoff for the site, the impervious surfaces. We would reduce the drainage basin. Right now, I'm not showing a basin, and that's partly the reason we continue the conservation hearing so far out was if the board sees fit to grant the waiver, then that would change our drainage design and would also change the impacts around the wetlands in that area. So the commission would be in favor of the waiver, obviously, because it's going to reduce impervious areas and work within the buffer zone. It's one less house in the buffer zone, driveway, et cetera. So the overall drainage patterns for the site, everything kind of flows from north to south. There's a wetland through the middle, water traverses through this area, comes down into Delaney Drive. There's a swale through one of the yards here, goes into a culvert under the street. Second half of the site kind of flows down to a Sunny Rock Drive, with a big wetland area down here. There's a river rock locust where that water runs. We have two main drainage basins. There's one down the back, which would handle this cul-de-sac and the homes in that area. And then we have one over here on lot 2, which primarily handles that small cul-de-sac. And then if we have to build a subdivision, there'll be a third one here. If we do go with the waiver plan, that will be, what we would do is we haven't designed it yet, but we would modify this to have probably a swale down the driveway with a small basin, sediment basin right there. We talked to the commission about that. So we just pick up the runoff from the driveway. So.
I'll address that, the waiver. Chances are you're gonna have to do what's been done on all these private roads. Whatever's been done, they're gonna want, and it usually starts with Deputy Chief Paul Barry. 12 feet hasn't cut it yet, I don't believe.
He hasn't what?
Paul Barry, Deputy Chief.
Yeah, right. I know. What was your second
I'm
comment?
saying, these have been done all over town, the privates, but it's 12 feet ain't gonna cut it, I can tell you that right now. It's usually more than that.
Even if it's just one house?
Over there, you go see that guy.
We'll go see him.
With the fire engines, right? He's the one. Comes down to him.
I'll go see
Rob,
him.
He's the one that,
No, I agree. I understand. Yep.
so, from my.
You don't have comments from him on the project yet, do you?
Yeah. Let's see. I did. Nope, no comments, not yet. Not yet, no, not the ones I got. So, just anytime we've done these private roads, he typically, well, in the past, Maggie and now Kyle chimes in, but typically that's for today?
That's July 8th.
Okay, how come I don't have it in my little packet?
I'll
I
share.
think he commented on the waiver.
I got
Oh, I'm
two.
sorry, I found it in the
I
book,
got one
sorry.
from Tim Bailey and one from Paul Barry.
Yep. Okay, what he's commenting here, I'm sorry, Rob, he's only commenting on what you got for the
For the
subdivision.
full-blown subdivision.
Yeah,
Yeah.
has nothing to do with what you wanna do, so you're gonna have to go talk to him on that.
Well, I think he says the access road is shown in, Plan A.
Do you have that?
Comply with 537 CMR
All right,
one.
your supplement plan?
Yeah, it's
sorry.
on supplemental, that's what it's
All
on
right,
Yeah, so I
sheet
think,
A.
I think that's.
That's what he's saying.
That's what he's saying, it's gotta, you need to, the CMR, 527 CMR one is, has all the requirements on the road.
Yeah, we've done a bunch of them. He cares about the road and, what do you call it?
We'll meet with him.
Conservation does the drainage or whatever.
So we'll have a meeting with him. So before we do that, if we get him on board with whatever his requirements are for that, what's the board's flavor on that? We get an idea of how the board feels about the waiver? Because it does constitute us to make a revision to the plan before we come back.
Well, if you want the waiver, you gotta show it anyway. You gotta show them both.
I do, but it changes my drainage design if I get the waiver.
So you want us to give you our, what we think, so that you don't have to do it twice.
No, I just wanted.
So you want us to cut out.
I'm gonna do it twice.
Cut your work out. Basically, you want us to say, yeah, that's great, and you won't have to do the drainage for the other one. But guess-
No, I'm gonna have to. If you say, yeah, it's great, I'm gonna do the drainage for the other one. I already did the drainage for this one.
Okay, so you're gonna have to do them both.
Right.
I mean, you can't not do that, because if someone says no, or whatever, it goes down.
But it does change the lot layout too. So how do I handle that?
What do you mean, the lot layout?
Well, you lose a lot. I make that one big lot, so that would, my recordable plan would no longer show two lots. I guess you would vote it and we'd make a revision. How do we do that?
Well, you'd have to, or what you do is you'd vote the waivers, and then you have to vote probably to change the
To
number
make
of
that
lots.
change?
That would be all roll in the same one. When you get that vote, everything that's affected will be, you grant that waiver of one lot per this, and include now the subdivision is 13 lots, not 14, whatever the case. All right? That can be taken up into the waiver, but I don't mean to belabor it. Looking at this question, I've never seen this before, but this is all one subdivision. I understand it's on one road, but it's the first time I've seen like one road over here, and one road over there, and one road over there.
One big piece of land.
No, I understand that, Rob, but typically
what
they're all
you're saying.
connected, you know what I'm saying? So, I assume you're all set that this could be called one subdivision?
That's what we thought.
Okay, all right, just checking. I'm sure John's attorney has already went like this? No?
It's up to you.
No, it's not up to us. We can,
You want 3 separate subdivisions?
no, I'm just, you want to do it as, John, I don't give a, whatever, but I'm just saying, I don't know, it's not up to us to be your lawyer. If your lawyer is confident that this can be done, I'm just saying I've never seen anything like this before, that's all.
Same property owner with the whole piece of land.
No, I understand, but you,
Just what you said in the previous subdivision, earlier tonight, you can't divide it up, so it's one owner, one piece of land.
you know, I understand, but you get different access points that aren't connected. If you went like this, it wouldn't be an issue, at least I said, okay, if you guys fine. If we vote it wrong, sorry, if you guys get appealed. So, all right, with that being said, you should, anything else to present before I read these?
No.
Okay. We'll go right to the fire chief, did find it. We confirmed the length of Jack Walsh Lane and street names.
This one.
Yeah, the long one, yep. I know last time you showed the preliminary, you didn't hit that, correct? What is it?
It's under 750. It doesn't need a waiver. It meets the requirement.
Okay, well,
I don't know it off the top of my head. I can't.
it's gonna be on the plan anyway.
It's on the plan.
Okay?
Right.
Street names, you gotta apply.
We sent in a letter requesting the street names.
That's the next, no.
Jack Walsh Lane and Oak Trail Lane. You have to put one for the third little one.
No.
That's
Dover Drive would remain Dover Drive.
Oh, it's gonna be a continuation of it, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
That would stay the same.
all right. So you applied for 'em as of, yeah, you got Jack Walsh Lane is approved, and Oak Trail Lane will be confused with Oak Hill, and probably Oak Street, so.
Oh, okay.
So find something else.
So Jack Walsh was fine, Oak Trail, no.
Bill Maloney? Way? See, you gotta submit your, compliance swept path for the, turning radius. for both layouts.
Sure. That's what he's asking for, the fire chief?
Yeah, he always wants, you
That's
take that
fine.
little toy truck you got and you gotta do that.
We'll provide that.
Because that's all, and we already talked about your supplemental sheet A and landscaping. This is something he's thought, but overgrowth onto the access lane. From Board of Health, they approve the plan, but not in favor of new construction with the wetlands, and long-standing stance on protecting wetlands. But if this is approved, the board urges the applicant as well as the future homeowners to adopt the best practices for mosquito mitigation, for spraying and standing water, and institute regular cleaning gutters and proper grading the buffer zone to prevent low points, so. Mosquitoes are all gone now. I leave the fire department, and before I turn over to Carl Jr. Haven't had him, Carl, but I will say, I don't know if you have the copy, but in the back.
I don't have it.
No, for the record, there's one that was June 3rd that went to Jack Wiley.
We don't have that one either.
All right, but now it's been updated to us from the July 20th, so we'll go with that one. Whatever you sent to Jack, it's probably been updated since then.
Yeah, we haven't received it. You have an extra copy?
You need money?
Couple dollars anyway.
Walk it over. It's been out since July 20th, so, I don't know if we have a copy, but
Say the June 3rd.
So I got the ones from Carl from July 20th, 2022. The overall subdivision for the waiver request, he has no objections to waiver request number 1. The board should not entirely waive number 2, the impact data and analysis, but should require a site distance analysis for Oak Trail for the subdivision roadway and/or driveway if waivers are approved. Oak Trail, no objections to waiver 1 through 7. Waiver 8, we do not recommend waiver. Waiver 9, recommend waiving acceptance plan only. As-built should be provided. For plan review, sheet 1 cover sheet.
I mean to stop you. Do we know what waiver, I don't got the list here, waiver 8, just so we know what that is?
Waiver 8 is the performance guarantee.
Performance bond
Yeah.
for Oak Trail.
Oh, okay.
And 9 was the
As-built.
as-built and street acceptance plans.
Okay.
List current requested waivers outlined in April 20th, 22 letter to planning board. Include those for Oak Trail. Sheet 2 key sheet, provide consistency on road labeling between key sheet and sheets 3 and 4 layout. Key sheet does not label the new roads extending Dover Drive as proposed road, and other proposed roads are labeled. Sheet 3, 4, and 5, label layout in lower right-hand corner. Provide a unique identification for access and utility easements and label areas for the easements. The access for utility easements over lot 5 and 4 portion, lot 9 and 10 to Indian Lane and over parcel A shall be granted to the town of Walpole in the Form J covenants with no exception. The remaining access and utility easements shall be granted to the town with emergency access rights only and shall be subject to the maintenance covenants with the respective lots. Label right-of-way width on all proposed roads, 46 feet for the road stops off Delaney and 52 for the road A of High Street. Sheet 3, for existing sewer easement shown over lot 3, label deed and plan reference and indicate private. Label extension of Dover Road, proposed Road B. Extend dash marks for easterly portion of access and utility easement over lot 5 to cul-de-sac, so this portion may be separated from the remainder of the access and utility easement over lot 5 and 6. Easement on lot 5 and 6 may be reduced to eliminated dependent upon grant of waiver. Sheet 4 is labeled the extension of the road, proposed road C. Provide note explaining purpose of lot B to be combined with a budding lot for driveway purposes. He says for sheet 5, see comment 8, 9, and 10. For sheet 6 and 7, he doesn't have a comment. For sheet 8, for the grading and drainage utilities, provide note along existing sewer line over parcel A, indicating all brush, trees, and overhanging limbs be cleared and removed throughout width of easement. Sheet 9 for plan and profile, show streetlights on east side of the road, at start of the road. Show 1.5-inch mill and fill over existing Dover Road to gutter line of Delaney Drive on east side and through the patch repair at intersection on the west side. Install granite edging on rounding on east side and to the driveway at 27 on the west side. Show removal of existing wheelchair ramp at northeast corner of Delaney Drive - Dover Road and replace with concrete wheelchair ramp with truncated dome warning panel. Then show location of proposed mailbox. For sheet 11, he wants them to show a triple gate at water connection on High Street with note that the triple valve assembly may be waived for tap and sleeve at discretion of Walpole Water. Show location of proposed mailbox. Provide note indicating the scenic road hearing is required prior to the removal of wall-trees on High Street at road entrance. Show relocation of utility pole. Show sightline and distance for appropriate stopping locations and provide profile in each direction. Showing appropriate AASHTO site distances may be obtained. Extend source southerly and westerly along proposed road to approximately Station 1+20 to accommodate 508 and 488 High Street. Public rights will be granted to end this road for utility even if the road remains private. Provide profile of cross-country sewer from Road A to extension of Dover Road. And for sheet 12 through 14, he says, see the memo to Concom. For details, he says, change label on vertical slope transition curve detail to 6 feet long to agree with note 2. For street tree planting detail, add in or remove wire cage at the end of the note regarding removal of burlap. For sheet 16, the typical cross-section shown is for a DPW detail and shows a grass strip on the sidewalk as 5 feet plus or minus, depending upon whether vertical curb is used or sloped edge. This office would prefer a 4-foot grass strip, which leaves a 1-foot grass buffer behind the sidewalk to the right of way. Provide details for concrete HP handicap ramp with turnkey dome, warning strips, and request sidewalk paving thickness be increased from 2 inches to 3 inches. And then for supplemental A, show triple gate assembly at water connection on High. Provide note, it's basically the same as the one before for Oak Tree with the subdivision. It's all the same notes. And then off-site, perform paving repair at patches near 12 Dover Drive and 39 Delaney Drive in order to relieve chronic winter icing. Install remedial drainage in the area of 5 Sunny Rock Drive and 900 North Street -3 Buttersweet. Prepare covenants documents for utility easements over parcel A and record it. And that's basically what he has in the Congo.
Okay, you know what Cal typically does?
Yeah?
Yeah, I got a bunch of comments and I'll go over with them and they didn't tell you to do that, did he? No. You gotta read them all.
I like that.
You did good.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, Kyle just didn't want to take the time. Okay, so that's all the comments we have right now. I'll open it up to the board for any questions, comments, what we have. Start with this time, John?
Okay. I suppose I'd say I don't have any issues with combining, with the proposed optional plan to combine lots 5 and 6 into one lot for a reduced width access point. We have one name. If this becomes just one lot, will they still need a street name for it?
Yeah. Yeah, because it's gonna be off of what, High?
It won't have a
I
high
would
street
give it a high
address?
street address though, huh? Becomes
That's
one?
gonna be up to the fire department, so.
Is that who gives the house numbers, fire department?
Yeah, oh, no,
How,
they give the house, but, whoa, they give the numbers, but the fire department decides, I believe, whether it's gonna be a street off of it or a number off of that, so.
it's pretty similar, though, to what we did on Pemberton, right?
Right.
And they just numbered that one.
Pemberton's a little clearer, because that's right there, you can see it, this is kinda tucked in, but if it's a number, but. that's
It might
what-
still get a street name and still have a high street address.
Yeah.
You can put anything up after, if it goes private, you can put, you know, Truax Way, dead
We already
end,
have one of those in Foxborough.
dead end, yeah, I know. Park a lot of trucks on it too, don't they?
No, there's a Truax Lane.
Oh. Well, however that works out, you're gonna have to take, actually, when you're talking to Paul Barry, ask him about what he thinks about that. And they're the ones gonna decide whether they think they need it or not.
Yeah, we'll ask him.
Okay,
I'll
and
talk
then-
to Kyle about it too.
Then when they decide, go see Joe, he'll give you a number. I assume there's enough numbers in between.
Probably.
There are, okay.
There are.
Because we don't like having, yeah, we don't like 81 rear or something like that, so, okay.
Yeah. Other than that, I like the idea that they're looping some of the connections up through water and sewer, is very happy with that, you know. I assume all the frontages are okay.
Just as a side note, he made a comment about parcel B. That's the parcel right here. And that's gonna get deeded to Mr. Anderson for his driveway. We met with him, at one of the conservation meetings, we had a conversation with him.
So you're gonna do that after this is approved?
Yeah, well, we can't deed it before.
No, you're gonna deed it to him or give it to him?
He's gonna give it to him. Yeah,
Okay.
deed it to him.
Well, so you'd have to come back with an A and R.
Yeah, John already talked to him about it, so.
All right, just, yeah, don't put it all in this, you get all confused.
No, we'll leave it on the subdivision, we're not doing A and R.
2 there, 3 there, 3 there.
Is that what you said, do an A and R?
Well, if you leave it on subdivision, he'd have to be part of this subdivision, because he'd be part owner.
No, we own it.
I understand.
After you approve it, we'll ask you to release it and we'll deed it to him. As part of the covenant, we'll ask for that parcel to be released.
I've never done it like that, but,
Whichever way you wanna do it.
however,
Yeah, we wouldn't give it to him now as an A and R.
no, I know you wouldn't give it to him now, but after it's approved, then.
Once it's approved, then the board can release the parcel. You have the right to release any lot or parcel. So you can release that in the covenant, and we can just deed it over to him.
Okay.
I don't believe I have any other.
Or you can
comments.
wait till we bond the road and then
You're
you
gonna
can
show it
deed
as a
to him.
parcel.
We show it as a parcel.
That's it.
Okay.
Personally, pending approval from fire and everyone else, I think it would be nice if that was one house. I think it would be nice for the neighbors and be a nice big lot. I know that's an easement along the back that comes in off Indian Lane, but how does that work now? Does Indian Lane just stop? It just stops there?
Right to there.
And that's just wooded and,
Yeah, well, now there's wetlands here, but there probably wasn't years ago when they built it.
and that easement, you show it, so it's not cleared now, I assume?
We'll clear it.
And you're showing it's gonna have to be cleared?
We'll have to clear it, yeah.
Okay.
So, move right up along the stone wall.
Yeah,
This is the other one he wants cleared. The sewer easement easement right now goes through here. Some of it's clear, you can see it, but it's pretty overgrown. And there's no easement around it. I don't know why it never got an easement, the town never took it for some reason years ago. I don't know, it just got left off.
But it's just gonna stop at the property line, right?
Yeah. Well, the sewer comes from Heritage down through here on the side drive.
Oh, I got you.
And there's no easement on this portion of the sewer across our property. There was never an easement put in place years ago.
Really? Who built that road?
I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Who was Heritage, you or Aston?
Were you Heritage?
Heritage was us, Sidewalk was the butter.
Okay, so, but somebody constructed who owned Heritage and didn't.
Yeah, it just never did the easement.
Okay.
So,
And the only other thing I'll say is, if they're comfortable with it, I'd love to hear at the end from the neighbors who are here about how they feel about whether that's one or two, so,
I think she's right here.
yeah, I just, because I assume it's a better thing, but I'd love to hear from those who live there, so, that's all I have.
Okay, Phil?
On sheet one, if we could label parcel B on sheet one for the locus, that might be just a.
On that little piece?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how you can do that, but.
I mean,
that way
it's
every-
drawn, you
every-
can't really
everything's
see
there.
it, but
Yeah.
I could
Or an
try.
arrow
could
or
see
something,
it.
I don't know, but, and then, as Carl said, putting all the list of waivers on sheet one.
Oh, okay.
As you know what they are, yeah. As far as the waivers for the, option for the street, as long, I'm open to that as long as the fire department is good with the street width and access for fire safety. So, on sheet, also on sheet one, sheet two, as Carl said, having consistent names for the streets, whether they're ABC, one street, proposed street 1, 2, 3, or you're using the names that
okay.
you know, that we now know, or that you think you know. So that, yeah. And then, you mentioned on, I didn't see maybe I'm missing it, on sheet, 4, the road length of the proposed street. And it might be there, and I probably could have missed it, I don't know.
It's probably not on the layout sheet. It's probably on the profile sheet. on the
Okay.
creating sheets.
Okay,
I generally don't put the stationing of the road on the layout sheet. That's just a recorded plan. But it would be on the profile. I can't see it because my eyesight's not that good.
Gee,
Yeah,
that's the
so
guy I
our-
want to draw
our-
my plans.
our copy of these are a little bit.
You want to use my glasses?
Okay. On sheet 5?
Here it is.
Yeah, so you were saying that easement on parcel A then is there now, is what you were saying?
It's
And
not there
it's
now.
not- But the sewer's there now,
Yeah, can you see that, John?
But they
Pretty
show
small.
but they show.
Oh, it's right here. It's around 720 feet
Oh, okay,
at
thank
the
you.
end of the pavement.
Okay,
I can see it on the profile down below.
okay. Yeah, and then on sheet 5, so that's below the 750 number. And then on sheet 5, so the easement on parcel A, you said that there's no easement, but there's a sewer, water lines are running, is that what
The
it is?
sewer easement, yeah, we're gonna put an easement around it.
Right.
That will get dedicated with the acceptance.
And who maintains that, the vegetation, control the vegetation, and if the,
Local when they own it,
so if you give,
you'll maintain
if
it.
we have an easement, then that's why it's not being maintained.
You don't maintain the drainage basins. The homeowner will. So
Yeah.
we're actually gonna create, we've had some discussions with Concom, we're gonna we're gonna change that lot to wrap around that drainage basin, one of the lots. So it's on one lot, not on parcel A, because if it's on parcel A, there's no house there.
Right.
And their concern was, well, who owns parcel A? Are they gonna maintain it? They're not there. Right, he does. So we talked about we would come around that.
So right now, parcel A would be owned by John.
Right.
he would retain that ownership, unless something is done with it later on. Right. And,
Took
yeah,
Golden
and
Building
then on
ties to
sheet
lot.
6, so you're connecting the two cul-de-sacs, or the two, so the two water lines, sewer lines, so that's good.
Yeah, they're gonna come all the way up to High Street.
Yeah. And and on sheet 7, so you said, yeah, so on sheet 7, it looks like the water flows north, right? Northeast, it looks like, towards parcel A from the cul-de-sac.
The surface flow?
The surface, yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the elevation of the land there.
It goes down into that wetland.
But, and then you're just collecting it on that, in the drainage, and it just seeps into the ground. That's,
Some will seep in, some will overflow. There's an outlet structure.
yeah, and that would just go into the wetland.
That was going to the wetlands. The idea is to mitigate it, so you slow it down, infiltrate as much as you can, and slow down the rate, so it comes out at a slower pace.
And yeah, and then all the other comments that Carl had on the streetlights, this is on sheet 9, the mail drop, the mailbox location, all of those that
What's the story with the mailbox locations? You want all the mailboxes shown?
he had it on his comments.
Or is he thinking we're doing one central mailbox?
Well, that may be what he's thinking.
I don't know.
So it may, it may require just having a note on the plan.
First off, the mailbox don't concern us, it's not under chapter 81.
And the mailman is gonna tell you where to put your mailbox at the
Well,
end of the day, right?
Just so you understand, in Olmsted, some reason they made them put a big freaking, like,
Gang,
kind of
like,
gang one, right?
wow.
But other ones, they haven't. So it's whoever's the postmaster at the day, whatever he feels like doing, but regardless of that, we don't control the mail, we don't control where they go,
Interesting.
we don't care. We don't, I mean, really,
It
it's,
often appears on our plans.
Right, it's
though.
not a subdivision
Yeah,
thing.
sometimes.
no, it's not, it's nobody's, if he says he wants it here.
Postmaster.
Yeah,
If you don't put it in the right place, he's not bringing you mail at the end of the day.
and when it comes out to spot it, I hope it's right where a hydrant is, and you're gonna move the hydrant. I don't know why Kyle wants that.
Shown.
I mean, it's, because it's not going down over here at Common Street for the postmaster, oh, that's great.
No, it's not.
And guess what else, Rob? Here's a problem, say we're all gone. Either retired, moved on, someone's gonna look at that plan, maybe Joe, 20 years from now, oh, hey, they didn't put the mailbox where it's supposed to be.
It's not there.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we can't release the bond. Ask Kyle while he's doing it, because you're gonna have to talk to him anyway.
We'll try and talk him out of that one.
And just want to highlight Carl's comment about the chronic winter icing on North Street. I know that's not part of the project, but it's an opportunity.
On what street was that?
He said 900 North,
And then-
3 Bittersweet, and
Did he say Sunny
15
Rock
Sunny
too?
Rock.
Yes,
15 Sunny Rock.
that's one of my comments is it even on your plan?
No.
I don't even know where they are.
Well, I know what Sunny Rock is.
No, I know where Sunny Rock is, but I don't know where 900 High and Bittersweet, and I don't know exactly what he's talking about on something else.
We already gave him the water and the sewer all the way up there.
So
You're already doing enough paving for them, just get under that, John, right?
Yeah, we'll get a change on next week.
Oh, you know the paving?
he may have recognized that was a safety issue, as an opportunity maybe to
Yeah, I'm sure.
address it. But
I don't know why he brought it up in the comments for this.
he brought it up.
Right.
Yeah, this is not making.
And then there were other comments from Conservation, from John Wiley, and I know that would be up to them to.
Yeah, we're gonna work with them.
But just be aware that there's other comments from Conservation. So, those are my comments.
All right. Sarah?
Okay. Can you add to the cover a 12 or 13 lot, single-family subdivision, just the number of lots.
Oh, you want to cover?
Mm-hmm. And could you add the total acreage? I think it's around like 24 acres.
20, yeah, it's like 23.7. So let me ask you, on the 12 or 13, what do I put on the cover? 12 or 13?
Well, yeah.
Why don't we vote the waiver tonight?
Wait, we're not gonna vote unless we see a non-wavered.
No's good. 13. How much, Rob, is it to change on your little?
Oh, I don't have a problem changing it
You
later.
don't even do it. You got one of your lackeys to do it, so
I don't have any more lackeys. They're all gone. It's just me.
you have nobody?
Just me and my partner and a survey crew. We're down to 5 people, 6 people. Jack, I'm getting old.
Yeah. I'm sorry, sir.
Okay, and a question, do you have PDF of the plans that you can send
Sure.
to us?
But I gave her a drive, a disk drive.
Yeah.
She may
It was
have,
to be
but-
shared with all of us, so I think conservation might have it.
Yeah, I think I gave you one, and I gave Carl one, a whole drive of everything I
Oh, that's
submitted.
Right.
Can't
Do you
you?
want me to send it to you? And if it's large, can you do a Dropbox?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should I send it to Kate? She can forward it to you?
I mean, I think Phil would like it, I don't know the rest of the
Yes,
board,
yeah,
but
it would be
some
very
of them
helpful.
are just
Yeah, we-
difficult to see,
Sure.
so.
And we,
No,
and we
I
want,
have
we're
them. I
going
can
to be
send them.
institutionalizing this too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can send them.
Okay, thank you.
Sometimes they just get very large files,
Yeah,
and I can't send them to you. You can only accept certain size files.
right,
And we have Dropbox and
I
everything.
can do the Dropbox, right?
yeah. Okay,
And I just want to mention, actually, it's in our rules and regulations
Well, you have
to
it.
get, to get a.
Kate
to
has it in
PDF.
her office on a thumb drive,
Yeah.
I do.
yeah,
a PDF. Everything I submitted, all
PDF.
the letters, everything, I put on that
It's-
thumb drive and gave her a copy.
So it's getting it put out on our town website so that people
Right.
can easily download it.
yeah, that would be great.
That's really.
But I'll send it in an email so she can just forward it to all of you.
Okay,
Rob, for simpleton's sake, put the plans on one PDF and the rest of the crap on the other.
The plans just get huge.
Those plans, I download 600 drawings a day. They ain't
No,
that
it's
huge.
when I scan them, you know what it is? I scan them with signatures on them, and when I scan them, they get large. When I make them off my computer, they're not that large.
Yeah,
But when I run them, we take them out, we print them, we sign them, we stamp them. And then when we scan them, for some reason,
oh, you don't have the ability to sign them, electronic sign?
I haven't figured that one out yet.
Gee, the whole world has.
I haven't.
If you did that, everything's electronic
We're
signature
working
now.
on that, you know, that's one of the new things with our downsizing. Because I might have to work remote, Jack, at some point.
Remote, yeah.
You know, winters are getting cold.
You still got your 100-foot tape too?
My 100-foot tapes, I don't know how to use them.
all right, moving on. Pending, deputy chief's comments, I don't have a problem with taking out that lot. I think it would be a nicer design. If it does need a road name, it should be a way or a court, not a lane.
Okay.
And then also I agree, I think Carl mentioned it, to find out and determine the line of sight and make sure.
Yeah, we can shoot the sight distances.
That's a tough road, High Street.
It's actually where we're coming out. I mean, if you're coming down, you're trying to see down High Street, it's a little difficult. But from where we're sitting, we're on the curve, so you can see in both directions.
Okay,
Coming out, you can see. It's just, I know what he's saying, and, because if we're coming down, you might not see the car down here on High Street, but you'll see us.
okay. Yeah, I mean, you might be lucky in the location, but some locations are definitely
No, I know.
tough.
I
on
drive
that
up
road.
there.
Okay. Okay, I have a question about who owns and maintains parcel A and B, and you kind of mentioned it. So
Who?
B is going to go to Mr. Anderson, and A is going to stay with Mr. Walsh.
You'll retain that.
Okay. And should that be shown? Like, owner?
No, because they could sell at any time.
Okay.
or combine with somebody else.
He owns all of them right now. Once you approve it, he still owns them all until he
Okay.
sells them.
Okay, and then,
And he could sell parcel A to one of the neighbors or something. For
Yeah, if
chop,
they
to come
wanted to.
back with an A&R and sell pieces to all the neighbors.
okay. You mentioned the utility easement on parcel A. Do you know if some of the clearing has started?
No,
So they haven't done
better
any?
than anything.
Okay. Did you do some assessment on that area? I heard from the abutters that there was some work happening out
We
there.
did soil testing for the drainage basin.
Soil testing, okay.
Yeah, that was last year, last fall.
Okay.
We haven't been out there recently. This year?
I forget, I mean, I prepared for this in July, I don't remember what,
I mean, we haven't,
what they
there's been
said,
no
but
activity out there this summer.
It might have been last.
It was last year we were out there digging test holes.
Okay, okay. Okay, and then to label the new road at Dover. And there's a utility easement marked on parcel A. It's quite large. I'm trying to see which sheet shows it.
Sheet you looking at?
Write it down.
I think it's 5.
There we go. Yeah, sheet 5, access and utility easement.
That's the drainage basin.
Oh, okay. Drainage basement, okay. Okay, and then, agree to list the waivers on the plan. And then just to confirm, I think you mentioned if we do, take out that one house, agree to the road, you're still planning to bring sewer and utility out?
If it's
to
one
High
lot?
Street? Yeah.
Yeah, we're still bringing the water and sewer.
Water and sewer, okay. I think those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I got a few. I'll ask Mr. Waltz, what's up with parcel A, John? Is there something super secret there down the road? Is there
We
like,
tried to get a lot, but we didn't have the frontage off of Center Rock.
so why wouldn't you just dump it with the rest of it?
We could, the neighbor next door might want it, it's the end of Sunny Rock, so.
Okay. It's just, I don't necessarily like lots just hanging out there, but, all right. That answers that. When you go, Rob, when you go to do the single lot, are you going to combine the two lots as you have now, or are you gonna reconfigure all the lot lines?
Just gonna combine them.
What?
Just gonna combine them.
All right, so just erase it and the outer stays. Okay.
Cul-de-sac stays the same.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the house that you're getting rid of, say the bottom one, the lot is, now instead of being lot 1A and B, it's just gonna be A, one big A lot.
Yeah, just within, actually, I do change it slightly, I'm sorry, Jack, let me correct myself. If it becomes paper, I put the bubble over here so I can get the house further out.
No, but, okay, what I'm saying is, right now, you're gonna, if you did it the conventional way, you'd have two lots.
Right, this perimeter of those two lots will not change.
Okay, that's what I'm asking, so it doesn't matter whether it's one or two, you're just erasing the
I'm
dividing
just
line.
gonna change how the bubble configures.
Yeah, no, that's fine, as long as I,
Yeah.
so we're not worried about the impact in the other
Yeah,
lots.
we're not gonna change any of the lot.
All right, the other thing, just looking, trying to look at the tie-ins, when you, I assume there's nothing on High Street you're gonna have to tap in and all that, correct?
Water line.
Oh, that's right, the sewer you're running through there,
Yeah,
okay.
and he made a comment whether it was gonna be tap and sleeve and gates, or all three gates, or, we'll ask I guess we gotta, when you go to construct it, water will tell us what they want.
But you, I haven't, these are days Maggie's not here, usually she have you pave curb to curb or whatever. I don't see the details of that on there. You guys gonna have something?
For High Street?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where the water line is. Is it on the edge or is it in the middle?
Exactly. I mean, I show it, he had a plan of it, looks like it was on our side somewhat, but.
One of the street building.
Yeah, but you should show it on our plan too, how it's gonna go. Kyle
We'll
should,
discuss it with Carl.
well, it should be on there so we all know. The same thing, how about down in, Dover Extension? You didn't run the pipes, oh, you did?
I don't need to do
Cap them?
anything down here. I
All right,
He's
so,
asking for some stuff
He's
down
asking
there
for
in
some
common.
potholes to be fixed on Dover.
Yeah.
no, forget I don't care about potholes. They got enough guys and trucks.
The water and sewer come into the property.
All right, so you don't have to go out there. All right. How
Same with
about,
the other end, like Delaney.
and the other one too? Okay.
Yeah.
No, but he wants to pave it right from the curb
He
line.
wants us to pave it down here, I think is
Why?
what the comment said.
It's a town property.
We'll go up to go meet.
Another change order?
We'll do that to make it look the same.
How about on the other part down at Delaney? Do you wanna do the same thing?
Probably overlay that out to the intersection.
All right.
It's only a short piece.
All right. So at least show it on there, so we
Okay.
know what's up. I know it's off-site, but at least there's something on the plan for that.
There's no reason that, there'd be no cutting out there, no trenching.
Oh, I know, but
Yeah.
it's nice to have a paving company. How about Delaney pave from 1 to 1? Would that be new?
Change on it.
Get off your phone when I'm talking. I'll make you pave the whole Delaney.
My wife.
Jesus.
I'm wondering where he is, he's been out so late.
When you're the king, you can get up anytime you want. Okay, that's, my only comment is you gotta go talk to Deputy Chief Paul Barry on how he, and once you get that figured out, then it works into your drainage and everything else. I mean, we've done it with, what's his name off of 109. You haven't done any of these?
He did it to us on Pemberton, now that you mention it.
Yeah, he kinda made that like a little more than we needed, but there's been a bunch. You've never done one in Walpole like that?
Not in a while, just the Pemberton one was the last one.
Because we've had a bunch of these, even up.
Yeah, he goes by that new code, that new regulations that are out.
Yeah, before, I don't think we never hit 20 feet, but that's what he wants. So, it's the only way he's gonna go with it, so. And also, when you give the plan, make sure you show him it's the 750 feet or 720. I don't have any other comments.
I have one
Members of,
question.
you have one more?
Just curious, I'm looking at sheet 7, the lot 10 house. Is that really being built into the house, into the hillside? Or am I just,
Am I looking?
the lot 10 house seems to be built into the slope? Or is
Yeah.
that just that's just the way it's planned at the moment anyways?
Yeah, it's kinda sloping across the house, yeah.
Okay.
Probably be a walkout on the right side.
What's that?
No, sir. Ma'am, you got questions or comments you wanna make? If you do, come on up.
Okay, Adria and Bill Lancaster, 504 High Street. So we're in Lot 6, and we would be, we're in front of the house, one of the houses, or the house that would remain if it were just a one-house lot.
Okay.
The two of us would be,
Yeah.
okay, versus the other side, just so you know. But I wanted to make sure, and I'm sure it would be followed, but it is a scenic road, and that everything that pertains to a scenic road is looked at and followed, and that, there's attention given to the amount of trees that are taken down when that becomes either a road or a driveway, because trees will have to come down on either side, and the trees and the lot, they're gonna have to, just so that it's all taken care and understood and taken care of, and that the disturbance to the rock wall, because there is a rock wall on both sides of that where you need to put the driveway, and I know you know that too. But it's if someone's driving by quickly, you may not see it, but they are there. I guess, yeah, those are the big ones for the scenic road piece, as well as I don't know if you have anything to do with when the house gets built, but to keep in the spirit, you're supposed to be in the spirit of a scenic road if you're on a scenic road, and if it's an enormous home, that is not what High Street is all about, but just putting there, just so I can note that I said it, and that we're aware of it, but not sure how much control you have over that kind of thing. Also, I apologize, I didn't hear what the police, fire, if they had any concerns, or were they waiting for engineering, because engineering, then I got lost during the engineering read.
We've got nothing from the police, they're gonna have to go shag that one.
Oh, okay, all right,
Typically, they don't say much. And the fire department's what we've been talking about, where he has to have the turning radius with all that.
yeah.
And they gotta go visit him if they wanna do this as a one-lot subdivision. So they're gonna have to go see the deputy fire chief anyway, for an update.
Okay,
Because if they wanna do a driveway,
yeah,
you just can't do a driveway. He has to have a certain width,
Right.
certain depth of the material the support is, and it has to be paved and so on. So if they wanna do that waiver without building a full street, they're gonna have to get his criteria for each step of the way. How wide, what he wants for
so
paving.
it's easier to do the street than it is to do the driveway?
No, it's easy to do the driveway.
Driveway, right, yeah, that's what I would think. Yeah, my concern was just making that turn out of the driveway or the street. It's a curve and a hill, a little bit of an incline. So, and I don't know, honestly, I didn't stand in the position to be able to see it or not, but,
Like Sarah said, it's a tough road is a mile way to put it. That street is brutal. Two SUVs could barely pass.
beautiful,
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful street, but
Yes.
absolutely, yeah, just to have, I mean, again, I know you're gonna do it, I just wanna get it kind of on record that, yeah, we are just voicing our concerns.
Mr. Truax, if you can answer it. Are there any trees on the town property that you gotta cut to get in, or is a stone wall on yours or theirs? Or yours or ours, I guess?
Stone wall comes out of us, but,
So
I'm
the
not sure what's out there for trees. I'll take a second look. I can go and take a look.
So, okay, you gotta take a look. My suggestion would be, as you're doing this, we should probably do the scenic road here at the same time, so everything fits, and, you know, they'll make it right with the stone walls.
The stone wall would put returns in like we did in all the other ones.
Oh, is that what you do? You just,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, take the rocks and
What's there?
then put the returns and coming in the road.
Yeah, and that's, if it's stones are on his property, we can't tell him what to do, but they'll turn them in like they've done it everywhere else. 'Cause that's why everybody kinda likes living up there. And the trees, we'll just take a look and have them, there may be nothing, but if there are, what we'll have is you'll be notified for scenic road hearing, and we'll do it
Oh,
in
there is,
conjunction
okay.
with this. They just can't go cut them, and then we decide what we wanna do. I'm gonna tell you, the problem with our scenic road bylaw, I don't like it, because you can cut a tree, but there's nothing in there that makes you plant another one to replace it.
Oh, interesting.
So, sometime 50 years down the road, well, scenic roads, no trees.
Yeah,
And how long you been up there?
20 years.
All right, remember they cut down some big oak elms that had disease and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the town
never
came in
did that,
and cut them down, but they didn't replace them. So slowly, it gets eroded on the town property. Maybe people plant them in their yard, but it's funny like that, is that there's no provision to plant what they cut.
Oh, interesting.
Can I ask a question? So from what I'm seeing, and I think this would go to you, Mr. Walsh, what I'm seeing, it looks like it'll be set back and it'll be behind, so it won't be as obvious from High Street, am I correct? That house,
Yes.
because it looks like it goes in and then goes behind a little bit, so that should protect a little bit. And
Right.
maybe they can place the house on the lot so that it's not as,
No,
I'm sure it'll be a big house,
what
but,
we had up there for years was restrictive covenants that we would work on for the subdivision.
What is
To make it, the same, the houses are, all look the same, somewhat the same. We got kind of, there you go.
Yeah, so this time when Pulte comes in, they'll be all like,
So we didn't know if it would be one of those Dover Drive monsters.
That's what I'm afraid of, but I don't think we can control that. That does not keep in the spirit of a,
don't worry about the trees.
scenic
If
road.
Toll Brothers buys it, there won't be a tree in that whole 23-acre site.
and I know
I'll
you.
say one thing though, most of the people who wanna live in there are neighborhood people.
Oh, really? Oh, they are making calls?
Yeah, we've been living there for years.
Just because we're good neighbors.
It's all because of you.
We're very quiet. And I know you're going in front of the conservation board, got that down. And then, interesting, because we were, the setback, if you can even go a little bit beyond what's required for the setback would be wonderful. But I know you have to, there are regulations that you have to follow.
The problem is that won't come into play until they go to build a house.
Right, and then you're gone, right? Or you build it.
I don't.
You don't know, you do this. Okay.
So there's once this is out of your hands, then whoever's building the house can do whatever they want.
No, we still
They
control.
still-
Yeah, but you have to follow what's on this plan, I guess.
Yeah, well, they still have to go to
Similar.
conservation.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so whoever builds a house on that lot, just so you know, there'll be a public hearing for that house, because they're gonna have to file with conservation. You'll get notified for the house construction.
Right.
So whatever they're building, you're gonna get a chance to see again.
Right.
Oh, rats, and that goes on, then we were talking
Yeah.
about, I think these are trees, I'm not sure.
So a lot, most of those lots are gonna be notice of intents, public hearing, conservation commission, neighbors will be notified.
Because you were talking about the other people that were up here, and they were talking about buffers with the trees and making sure that was part of the plan, because then they have to abide by that. But I didn't know if that works here as well, because that was one of our other concerns, we were talking about, oh, can we somehow put something in that you can we'll keep our trees and then keep the trees on the other side of the property line, or right on the property line.
They're gonna want to buffer you.
But
as much as you
I would
can.
think
Yeah.
so.
That-
I would
sorry.
think so.
Yeah, that's.
But you never know. And I didn't know how that worked on the other people, where you were kind of like guiding them to put it on the plan, and the woman actually said, no, we don't need to do that, like, oh, whatever that was.
Well, yeah, I mean,
But can you do something like that here, is that
But that was
different?
probably the single biggest question tonight was, the buffer between this new home and ours. Because it's dense for trees now, and, you know, is there any way to maintain the maximum amount with reasonability between the two properties?
Well, put some stakes where the house would be, we'll look over it and see how far away it is, then we can talk about it. Just where the house would go, so you get an idea of
Rocks
what it
out there, sure.
Right, I see, right.
And you can see it.
I mean, that is all we have, but it was, the two things is that kind of stuff there is the buffering, but the safety of coming out of the driveway or the road. I mean, I would think the road is gonna have to be wider than the driveway,
It would be.
right? Which would make it, to me, seem a little bit more,
It seems like if we go to the fire chief, it's gonna get a little wider than the driveway regardless.
and then the driveway would have to be even a little wider than typical. Yeah, then, I don't know, it's just a nasty road, and to put another access road off of High Street, never mind just another driveway, because I've been counting the driveways that are in that section, any section, but if any kind of chunk within High, we're just getting more and more of them, and just, what I don't want to see is another, fatal accident and we had it 2 years ago, maybe 3 years already.
We were
But-
rear-ended twice. Yeah, right.
Recently, it's just nasty right now, but just to keep that in mind also.
While you're here, do you have any comments, like one house versus two?
Oh my gosh, one.
Oh, yeah.
One?
A shed.
I decided
A
if you
shed.
show it there, you can go on the other side
Yes.
of the driveway. But I think there's too much wetland, which is another thing that the Conservation Board will talk about too. There's a lot of wetlands back there, and I don't know if it's expanded or not. Right now, it's denser than I've ever seen in the 20 years we've been here, which is really nice to see since it has been dry, but it's still.
No mosquitoes this year.
No, there are not.
There's no water.
No, the ferns are growing, though, it's enormous, it's crazy back there right now. It's pretty, but,
The design of the home is perpendicular to us.
no, they can change.
It would probably face just how we have it. You
Right.
don't want to drive in the driveway and see the front of the house.
So, but like, looking out our back, that would be the side of it.
Yeah, that'd be the side.
Right, yeah,
Sounds like it's
right.
And just one thing to note on the scenic road, what we would be concerned with is the right-of-way within the town. So even though it's on a scenic road, we're not gonna be concerned with all the way up the driveway. So
Oh,
those trees that they
right.
take
No, no,
out
no, no.
or stone wall, like that's outside of what we would look at. So it's only like right at the road.
Right, and, well, I don't know what the line, like we were talking about where the stone is, but, I mean, they're taking care of it.
So if it's determined to be within the roadway, then we would look at it and, work with the applicant to make sure the stone wall is, moved to another
right.
location and the
Okay.
trees and.
But there's no town control over the trees on either side of the driveway.
No, that's
Right,
their
right.
lot.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I get, and the whole thing, you was getting sewer for the lot.
Yeah, you're gonna get sewer stuff.
You ever go to sell, you'll never pass the title.
Property, yeah.
Up to my property.
Hook up if you want. Why would, I wouldn't hook up with Bobby until my septic fails. Cause you have to pay a sewer fee.
I know.
So if you're having a problem, if you sell here, someday if you sell your house or downsize or whatever, it's there. And then you can use it, you don't have that issue like everybody else has. You can say, yeah, I'm just gonna put you on sewer. Right. Done.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you for
everybody.
listening.
Thank you for your comments.
Jack, I just have a question.
There'll be other meetings.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead, Phil.
So I just have, just one other question. So the proposed road that, you know, on the, to go to the house on the, you know, what do you call it, the supplemental A. So is that land is already owned by John that
Yeah.
goes to High Street? But it's not, right now, is it just empty land? It's not a rotary?
Woods.
Just woods? Yeah.
Sewer, sewer.
Over here, down at the bottom, the sewer that comes from this.
Oh, but I'm thinking,
Private easement.
I'm talking about the access road to the.
This here?
That there, yeah.
Yeah, that's owned by Quinn.
But that's just right now, just woods?
Yeah, it's just, and it's a 52-foot right away. I don't know why it was left so big.
Yeah, 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 so no one's gonna see the house way in the back, cause that's another 150, 125 feet beyond the High
Oh,
Street.
yeah, it's all of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like 250 feet
yeah,
back.
yeah.
Only the neighbors will see it.
Oh, yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
but other than that, it's not gonna, yeah.
John, when your father did this, he didn't put that 52, that was already there, right? You got, who'd you take it? Which lot did you take it from on High then?
However, the layout of the lots were, it was all the master plan, the whole area.
No, I understand, but some of the houses on High Street were there before this master plan was ever done.
No, he owned all.
He owned everything on High Street?
Always up to where Maloney did the subdivisions.
Oh, so he did own that whole right side? Okay.
The main house, Ferrara house.
So if we're gonna keep consistent houses, we're gonna have chicken coops? We'll name it Hagler Road. Now, a real question. Whoever built a house on that drive there, they could put it on the other side as long as they were on the frontage of the cul-de-sac, correct? Or are you gonna,
Nah, they don't have any room. That's why I'm pushing it to one side,
well, that's
to
my.
give them more flexibility on the other side.
Okay.
Yeah, I was pushing it over. You know, here, if,
Yeah, I'm looking at your bottom plan, Rob, and you're gonna, that cul-de-sac is gonna exist no matter what.
yeah,
But if someone said, I wanna go on the right side, they probably could, wouldn't,
you'd have to, well, yeah, I could put the bubble out this way.
yeah.
And give them more room over here.
Well, the other thing that's gonna happen is when you talk to the,
This is, ideally, I actually wouldn't even, if I wouldn't be opposed to getting rid of this rounding and pulling it back even more, so it just comes right to that corner. Because then it gives them the ability to pull the house this way,
that's up to you.
you know, and just get rid of that rounding.
That's up to you and,
You know, and then it gives them even, this is the, you can see the wetlands gets a little
Yeah.
more open here. So I was trying to keep it that way as much as possible, so you can bring the house this way a little, give them more
you
flexibility.
can, yeah, however you wanna do it, that's your call for that one. But I just looking at the cul-de-sac there, that's your non-wavered,
Correct.
but it'll also be the frontage. That'll be
Right.
your official plan,
It will be the frontage.
yeah. So the guy, if he wants, so basically that one house lot will have the way it is now, almost 360 degrees of frontage.
Yeah, a lot of frontage, actually.
Yeah, but that's why he could go,
It won't be enough for two lots, though, and I.
no, I understand that, but I'm just, so that people understand, doesn't necessarily mean that house can go there, that may, if anything, it's not gonna go more to the left, cause there isn't the room, but it could.
It could come more to the right.
Yeah, it could go clockwise a little more. Okay. Unless you condition it like that. So, but,
If it were, if it's not a road, just a driveway, it's not a cul-de-sac.
It's a,
Or is it?
there
or
is
it
on
just a
paper,
sheet?
there will be a, what looks like a cul-de-sac,
Just
that
a
will
sheet.
be paper street, they call it. we won't be building the cul-de-sac in full width, but the lines will still be on the paper.
It will look like a driveway.
And you won't be able to build, no one can build on it. Where the paper street is,
No,
cannot build on it.
it won't have a big cul-de-sac.
No,
They won't pay for it.
referring to it as a, 'cause I'm getting confused.
What happens, and you have to show you can do it legally, that never goes away. They're just gonna put a driveway, they're just not gonna build it.
We're not gonna build it.
But-
We're gonna show it, we're not gonna build it.
Just to throw one more out there, when you get down to the fire department, they may want a little bubble, who knows, or they may want nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
What?
I know exactly what you mean.
Because I saw the one on Baker Street, you know what I'm talking
They don't
about?
have reverse in those trucks?
But they're going out onto the scenic road.
They're gonna have the scenic road shut down when the state comes down here.
Rob, let me ask you, you had a little dealings with the fire department, right? Wasn't there one off of High Plain that they had a little problem?
What's that plane?
Doopy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you know what it is, the fire truck? and
I
the-
know exactly what it is.
You know, when you're talking to the deputy chief, that he may want to, who knows, I don't know if it's deep enough to
I'm gonna
warrant
bring
it.
John with me, maybe he'll buy him a new fire extinguisher gift or something.
Extinguisher?
That's the new name for truck.
Yeah, like the one, you know what I'm talking about in Baker, John? The corner of Washington? Where you paved. By the golf course. Crest. Right next to, that's the one, what was his name, did it? The guy who had to come in during the snowstorm from Norwood.
Oh, yeah.
What was his name, Kate? Yeah, from Broly. He built that long thing in there, and I haven't looked to see, I don't remember if they had to make a bubble or something. Maybe he didn't. It depends on the length of it, you know what I mean?
The one off
There's
Baker?
some houses up there, they have sprinklers, some fire sprinklers in them.
Why?
Like my house.
Your house has a sprinkler, right?
No, that was a deal. Oh, whoa. We'll go back to the deal. When you guys fell through with Pulte doing all of Adams Farm, and it well beyond the 750 feet, the deal was, all right, you guys do this, but you gotta sprinkle those houses.
You can sprinkle this one too.
No, he doesn't go for sprinklers. We've already been down that road before. He doesn't care about sprinklers. He could let the house, if he just can't get his equipment and guys in there, that's what it comes down to on 750 feet.
The ambulance is the main. You gotta make sure the ambulance can make it in there.
Yeah, but he typically wants to, he's gonna make that decision.
I know exactly what he's gonna say.
Gonna go out over the,
He's just gonna destroy it.
you just, like I said, you gotta go see him, that's all.
We'll go see him, see what we come up with.
But I don't
We can
believe,
negotiate something.
I don't believe the big ladder truck can make it around a cul-de-sac though, can they? No.
The regular cul-de-sacs?
Tower.
Yeah, it does.
The big tower truck,
Yeah, the new ones, yeah.
they can make it around that?
You make it around a reduced cul-de-sac. He makes it around the Doopy Street one with the SWIP we did. And it's smaller than you're required under a
Okay,
subdivision.
all right, I didn't know if they could or not.
Yeah, those new ones turn tight. They're pretty good.
We're gonna buy bigger
Not
ones.
like the old ones where the guy sat in the back and steered.
I know. Well, that, you could take a tighter turn,
You can wing your way out there, yeah.
but, okay. Well, do we need extension, Kate, I assume?
Not if
Might.
they're coming September 15th,
We're not gonna be able to do September 15th and get all this
but I need an
information in here,
extension.
so.
The October 6th.
You're not meeting again in September, right? You're going to October.
Yeah,
First,
Yeah, so we'll have to give you, I think we extended it to the end of September.
I'm not off Labor Day. You off Labor Day, John?
You what?
You off Labor Day? Is that why we can't make the 15th?
I can make the 15th.
No, you can't. You gotta,
I got a lot to do.
I know you do. That's the problem. You got all
You
that
gotta
to
have
do.
it by, you want it 2 weeks in advance.
And
That's-
here's the other problem. It's summer. So the chances are, I don't know who's that over there for vacations and
I
that.
got a little vacation coming up. My son's coming home.
But Rob, you're a king. Every day can be vacation for you.
Tomorrow's off, Jack. Tomorrow's golf day, Jack.
Oh, great to be king. So, October,
How
we have
bad
a
are the
meeting. Are we gonna need
courses?
extension?
6th.
We gonna need extension?
Yes.
All right. We have extension up to Halloween?
Yes. October 30th.
31st.
Halloween, would you go trick or treating day ahead of everybody?
I don't know. 31st?
Come on.
I never got any candy.
You need that tonight, or can I email it to you?
Email it.
Okay.
All right, I'll make a motion to grant extension through October 31st, 2022. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And we will continue this public hearing on October 6th,
At 7.
7:15.
Is that the first one?
Yes. Well, it depends on how we feel next meeting. Could stick American in front of you, could stick Gloucester in front of you.
Good.
Ask I have something up, we'll stick it in front of you.
You say October 6th or 31st?
6th.
6.
October 6th.
Yeah, they have an extension through the 31st. Okay, and in the meantime, you'll give you time to think about scenic road, if you wanna do it at that time.
Yeah, I'll go and look at that.
I'll give you plenty of time.
I'm just gonna file it for the wall anyway, so we can rebuild it.
Yeah, but if the wall's not on your,
It's half and half, it looks like.
All right.
Looks like it comes off, it's off. And
Okay.
With the driveway, it probably wouldn't be an issue.
okay.
We'll just do it anyway, just to be safe.
Well, what happens is you file it, we have it, and if everything's filed, it's not on there, then,
Then all of a sudden it is, and.
yep, oh, that's fine. All right. I will,
So I'll get that in so we can have that on October 6th with it.
yep, and don't forget you need a new name for a street.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll, maybe a couple of minutes, maybe we'll,
You guys were here the whole time, weren't you?
Yeah.
Can be a long night.
All right, so that covers everything, so. Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
We're done.